It is great to see you. My mic is down. My screen is different. Boom. Saw it right at the beginning. Massive delay. So I'm going to go right ahead and steamroll and say, Happy Friday night. It's great to see you. Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. And more importantly, welcome back to, you know it, Gallery Night tonight. Great to see you, Linda. You're there, so I know we're okay. And my volume is now up. That was almost a thing. Cheers, my dears. I need to get a drink of something. And welcome back. It's great to see you, Mum. You are there. It's all happening. Now tell me, were there any problems tonight? Was anything different? Because I can see there was an update. Kaz, great to see you. I got your thing in. That was no problem at all. I got it in plenty of time. Happy Friday night in Wisconsin. Great to see you. Everything great. Okay, good. Isn't that amazing? I'm evolving. When I see something on this dashboard that is just bewildering, and I think, ooh, is that right? Is that right? I'm learning. I'm learning and growing at 50 flippin' 3, right? Amazing. Wendy, great to see you. Cheers, my dears, and thank you for the beautiful piece. You have more than one piece in, and the thumbnail tonight is Wendy's. I'm gonna hold on that because I think Wendy is on deck as the first person feature tonight. But of course, I want to talk about the material that was used for that piece. I love talking about unusual, non-traditionals, right? No problem getting on. Okay, great. I figured it out. Yep, I'm getting ahead of this thing, right? It keeps changing, and I have to remember what is different every time it does. And man, it's possible, right? Change is possible. Myra, great to see you. Cheers, my dears. Welcome back on this Friday night. So happy to have you, Diane. So happy to have you. So happy that we're able to be here together. It is autumn, and you know what? I knew this was going to happen. It was scalding hot, like suntan. I was like putting suntan lotion on in the car the day before yesterday, and now it is freezing. And all I can say is I have the prettiest lightweight autumn dresses in autumn colors hanging on the back of my door, ready to use. They're like paper thin, and I haven't had a chance to use them yet. Will I get a chance, or is it going to be bonkers this year? Now, for those of you who are on the East Coast, you know there's a nor'easter coming our way this weekend. Have to keep an eye on that, right? I haven't looked at the news this afternoon, but we'll be careful about that. Not tomorrow, but I think Sunday and Monday. For us here in the U.S., it is the holiday weekend. It is what was formerly Columbus Day weekend, now Indigenous People on Monday. So most of the kids and why is someone turning around in our driveway? For someone who lives on the top of a mountain, there's often stuff happening out the window, isn't there? You know what I thought the other night? I was so stupid. I was laying in bed and I was thinking about the way that bear came while we were recording the show, and I so wanted to show you, and all my brain could think was two things: is Buttons outside on his leash? That was the main thing, and then the second thing was, I wonder if I can swing this camera around that way and show you and zoom in. Why didn't I just pick up my phone and take a picture of it and then show it to you like this? It was right outside that door. That's the if I was on the other side of the door, which I was, obviously I didn't go any further. That's the closest I've been to a bear. That was like a 2 foot gap, but with the door between us, of course. Wonder if that was Amazon dropping off some goodies or something like that. Someone came, or if someone came up this driveway by accident, I pity the fool because it's very steep going back down, you know. Oh dear. So we'll see what happens this weekend. I'll tell you, tonight's going to be a great night. We've got some beautiful work to look at. It's going to be a busy weekend here. I wonder what you all are up to, Cheryl. Great to see you. Cheers, my dears. A cold night. The weather's about to change. I think so. I hope I get to wear those dresses. I bought such pretty dresses this year for fall festivals and things like that. I knew it was going to do the pendulum swing, that drastic pendulum swing. We'll see what happens next. So tomorrow I'll have to check the weather, but tomorrow there's a fall festival for us here. We're gonna go to the town of Granville, Massachusetts. I wonder if anybody knows that, right on the Connecticut line. It is so pretty up there. I didn't get to go last year. I think we went the year before. I'm not sure. It's a tiny village, large village green, tiny village. Basically, the country store and the bank, but I think it's the bank headquarters. I don't even think the bank is like open to the public, and a bunch of beautiful old houses on this old village green. And the thing about this country store It is one of these crooked, creaky ones where it's all wood. There was a gas station out front, but now it's defunct. It's just like the pump is there, the sign is there. There hasn't been gas there for a long time. But you go up on the little porch, and then you go in, and it's like the door is always stuck, and it's like that crooked wooden floor and these little aisles. It's like a little bit of a grocery store, and there's baked goods up front that are like from a local baker, and they're all freshly wrapped with like saran wrap, like not properly wrapped, just like wrapped in someone's hands that morning. And just a few little aisles and maple syrup and some coffee set up. It is as cute as a button. It's as cute as any country store I've ever seen. And they have their little festival this weekend. I guess Sunday they're going to be washed out. So probably tomorrow's going to be a busy day. They do have a bus set up, which is kind of funny because it really is the smallest thing ever. But the parking is a real problem. And there's a ton of people set up. Maybe I'd say maybe 40 vendors on the village green. It's a big village green. Now, most of them, and none of it's like, can I clean your gutters? It's all like, there's more crochet there than anyone needs. Even as a crafter, I say, there's more crocheted things than anyone needs. You could like empty your bank account buying pot holders and the things crocheted to the ends of like tea towels, um, plenty of those, plenty of those. There's really very little jewelry. There's really very little of anything else. A little bit of quilting stuff. I've never seen rugs there. Usually a couple of vintage stalls, but it's so charming and it's so fun. And if the weather is at all okay, it's so nice to go. And in the basement of the church, they've got like a lot of food set up. You can buy whatever food you want. It's just one of those things. When I walk through it, and again, we didn't go last year, and I can't remember if we went the year before. I know it's not the kids' favorite thing because they don't get the charm part of it, and there's really nothing there for them, understandably, right? They're not in the market for like crocheted goods, but there's nice food, and it just gives you that feeling of like when you're 90% asleep, and or you wake up in the middle of the night and you think of something that happened long ago, like in the 1980s, and you just picture the way things were, and maybe like a strawberry festival or like a Christmas bazaar or something like that. It has that vibe. So powerful. So we're going to do that tomorrow, and I hope that it's on, and I hope that it goes forward because that'll be a lot of fun. And then I'm traveling early the next morning, and then I'm going to see the play Rope tomorrow night with my sister. So we're doing that in Hartford. You know the Alfred Hitchcock story. It was the first of its kind. It was one of the Hitchcock. You know how the Hitchcock movies always have this sort of prestige thing about them that's like makes them different. Like Marnie had the thing about the sound. That was the first time they used silence in that way. The scene, right? In the sort of custodian scene at the beginning. Rope has this distinction of being the first movie that was taken, as far as I know, or as far as I've read in Hitchcock books, in one shot. And it started in the afternoon and it went to evening, and there were no cuts and no edits. So it basically was like a movie that was filmed as a stage play, and it's also a stage play. And if you remember the premise of it, it's about two guys who want to kill the third in the room. It won't be a spoiler alert if I tell you, because this is what the play is about. And they do, and they immediately hold a dinner party after, managing to hide his body. So it's a very suspenseful play because it's like, will people know that there's a dead body in the room? So I can't wait to see it on stage. I think I have seen it on stage, but not in the last couple of decades. So that should be a lot of fun. And Melissa, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to Canadian friends. I saw Susan Sutherland posted that Happy Thanksgiving to my Canadian friends, and I thought, already? Why did I think that your Thanksgiving was also in November? I thought it was at the beginning of November. I guess I've been wrong all along. Happy Thanksgiving to Canadian friends. I hope that it is a beautiful weekend up there for family and friends and getting together. Wendy, Myra, Diane, Cheryl, Melissa, Ryan, great to see you. Happy Friday from still warm down there in North Texas. Vodka, soda, and tape transfer collage tonight. Peace and love to you too. That sounds like such a lot of fun. What a perfect night, right? Liza, great to see you. Welcome back. Good evening. Also in North Texas. Carol, great to see you. Happy Friday and cheers, my dears, from another hooker in Wisconsin. You and Kaz are on tonight. Sharon, great to see you. Hello in rainy Vancouver. Oh no, on my way to the airport to fly to London. Well, that's the best. Bring the rain with you. It really suits London. It is a great city in the rain. I'm not being sarcastic. Having lived there, I loved it in the rain. And watch out for this stuff, baby. Come on over. He's buttoning up his shirt.
Sorry.
Sharon, great to see you. Good evening and great to see you. Here, let me make some room for you. Come on over, Red
I was
Rover.
about to ask, do you know what I could have for dinner?
Well, I'm running a live show right now.
I know.
So maybe you could ask your father who's doing nothing in the basement.
Sorry, I didn't know.
Yeah. No, that's okay. Okay, come on over. Right. You might do bumpies, but we know. We know you might bump us, Kaz. And
Hi.
Sharon. Oh, here we go. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let's get you on there, tall stuff.
Hi.
Happy Friday.
Thank you.
And you even left school early today because we had a transportation problem. You had a half day.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you look like you got a little bit of a sunburn.
I do?
A little bit. Looks a little bit pink. Maybe it was from the other day in Boston.
Maybe.
Yeah. You had a half day,
Yeah.
and I realized I had a doctor's appointment in the middle of the day. I, for some reason, screwed up on the time of it. So I had to. I dropped you off at like 8 o'clock,
Yeah.
right? And I picked you up at like 10:15. It was just ridiculous.
I see.
It was like, what's the point, right?
Yeah.
Well, it was great. Were you happy to see me when you
Yeah,
got the
it was.
call?
Yeah, that was awesome.
I bet it was
Yeah.
because he's got a 3-day weekend,
I do.
and now it was even a little bit more. We won't tell Joss because Joss
Yeah.
took the bus home, which was really nice.
Mm.
Look, your buddies are saying hi. Gami says, see you tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
He's gonna go over there tomorrow. Yeah, and I'll be over there for tomorrow night before the play, and then we'll stay. And then me and Joss are gonna leave real early with Papa to go to a convention in Syracuse, New York, and you're gonna stay home with Gami because you could use some chilling out time, right?
I can definitely. Oh, do
Yeah.
you know what time?
What
Ju-
time?
ju-
What?
Over. I'm going to grandma's. Just so I know.
As soon as we mobilize in the morning.
I
Yeah,
see. So
we'll
it's gonna
sleep
be
in a little
tomorrow?
bit. We'll wake up, and we're gonna make sure. If you help me
Alright.
pack, that's gonna help a
I
lot.
got you.
All right.
Yeah.
And you have one hair here, like a wild goat hair. Just
I do?
want me to pull it out?
No.
No, you sure?
Not
You
right
want me-
now. I need to see it before.
Okay, it's just one wild goat hair. I usually have the same hair in the same place. Sorry, Jinx. Go look at it in the mirror.
Strange. All right.
Do you all know the
Yeah.
one goat hair, right? Teddy's got it too. All right, we're all in the same club.
All right.
Love you, baby. I know he's growing. It's crazy how big he is. It's really crazy. Patricia, happy Friday. Great day with your 3-year-old, with your 3 great grandchildren at Cornell Lab of Ornithology. Oh my God. What do they have? Like a bunch of birds? Do they have a bunch? I'm thinking they have a bunch of birds. I think that sounds amazing. You got a compliment on your hair, Ted. It's super good. It's very good. I was going to say it's Bob Ross, but then I thought that might sound like, but that's what he's going for, right? So he has accomplished his goal. He gets in the mirror when he doesn't think I see him, and he almost backcombs it like it's the 1960s. And Teddy, let the dog out. Let the dog out. Come here, Buttons. You want to say goodnight? And then come here. You're going to see someone else handsome, and then I'm going to let him go, and we're going to run the show. Look who it is. Look who it is. It's Ricky Ticky. He had 2 ticks on him in the last two days. Uh-oh, is this another one? No. Oh, you know what? That might be another one. Hold on. Sorry, babe. Nope, that was a scab. Sorry, but that was a tick. Hey, Buttons, look. Look, you handsome one. No. Gosh. Do I go see Gami tomorrow? Gami there, and he doesn't even know it. He's getting a lot of ticks in the last couple of days. I wonder if it's like, because it's the end of the summer. I don't know what it is, but it's very strange because he hasn't all summer, and then he's had like a bunch. No, that's not a tick, so that's all right. Hold on one second. Nobody noticed that he got locked out. Come on, baby. Get your butt up there. There he goes. There he goes. Please pay attention to where animals are. I'm so grouchy, right? All right. So, hey, good to see you, everybody. And welcome back. And I was very grateful for all of the beautiful work that I got emailed to me. Super, super happy. It made it very easy to put the show together because everything was so gorgeous as usual. I love thinking about what you're working on. I've been working, let me show you what I was working on just now. For those of you who have been, I'm not done with any of them yet, but for those of you who have been buying the painted canvases, the Halloween stuff, they come with a yarn bat. And I'm not finished, right? This takes an astonishing amount of time. But these are what the yarn bats look like. It's a little holographic bat there that says The Haunted Rug, because that's the Halloween book, right, from last year. I'll get more next year that say the mystic rug, the mystic carpet. But for now, it's still the haunted rug, right? This is our Halloween theme. And the bats look like this, but you see there are one, two, three, four, five. So there's 10 holes. So there's going to be 10 different fibers in here. So far, I have about 50 yards of material on here, and you can see some of it's shimmery, some of it's um, sort of spandexy, bathing suity, some of it's straight up wool, right? Some of it's like the wool that I dye the Briggs in Little. It's just a mix of stuff. Some of it is the fancy scrubby stuff, right? I've been using that a lot in my stuff. I used it a lot in my Halloween stuff. And of course, each one is different, but the yarn bats look like this. So I still have on this one 2 more to go, so it'll be fuller by 2. But if you're wondering, what do the yarn bats look like? Is it worth having? I don't know what my total will be, but I'm guessing this will total about 70 or 80 yards. They all will be the same amount of yardage, but they all will be different materials. And this is hit or miss stuff. None of them is less than 5 yards. So every color, every type is at least 5 yards. So the Halloween stuff comes with the yarn bat. I could also put them up individually, but I really like them. And they're good for later to put a few of your noodles on, or if you're just taking a length of yarn, you just tie it on there, and then you take this with you when you're traveling, or you keep it with you when you're handy. And, it's quite a bit of material. So it's taking a little bit of time. And I'm going through all of my containers from the move of yarn. So I have a nice variety of stuff, but it's mostly novelty yarn. Halloween stuff, hit or miss Halloween stuff. That's kind of the point. So while there's a few traditional yarns in there, there's a lot of crazy ones too. So I've been working on yarn bats, and it's not every day that I can say that. So there we go. All right, so Diane, great to see you. Got your 2011 port. Oh my gosh, that sounds vintagey and extra good, right? That's got to be good. Oh, port. That's got to be good. Barbara, great to see you. You are loving the paint box patterns. Well, that's some good foreshadowing to something that's coming up in the show tonight. And the yarn bats are looking really good, if I do say so myself. I've got so much yarn, and it's so much fun choosing which colors to put on which yarn bat and hoping that you like them very much, right? So let's see, let's get started. We always fall behind, and we know we'll have visitors again because it's Friday night, and that's what happens on a Friday night, isn't it? So let's get started with tonight's show. Quite a few people sent some gorgeous stuff in, and we're going to look at all of it. So if we run over, we run over. I don't think it's an enormous show. I think it's a normal size show. But lots of people we see work from quite a bit, and a lot of people we haven't seen work from for a while. So that's just perfect, isn't it? I love that. Now, Wendy, I was right. You were on deck for the beginning of the show. What a great way to launch the show. You wrote and said, "Hi, Deanna. In July, Michelle Palmer came for a 3-day workshop with our Pittsburgh Rug Hooking Guild." Amazing, because you have to book her years out in advance, right? And I know that from Tigger. She is so good and she is so popular. I chose her design called Perched in the Garden. This is I know this is based on a fracture design. This looks very, very different. So perfect, right? Something we'll talk about the composition in just a minute. But Wendy, you enlarged this to be 20 by 20. Michelle does a lot of mini punch stuff, so I would imagine a lot of her designs or patterns are very small. And yeah, so enlarging it to 20 by 20 sounds like a really good move. That's a really good size too. And that is considered a standard size now. You can easily get a frame for something that size if you wanted to go in that direction. So Wendy writes, "It was suggested that we not start working on our pattern until the workshop began. So ahead of time, I did a smaller version. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Wendy did a 10 by 10 version, which was the thumbnail for tonight. But this is the wool version that you did in class. And you wrote, I hope your nosy bear stays on his side of the trees. Woo! I know it. I know it. It's a constant thought for me now. Oh, Wendy, you just reminded me I had the weirdest dream last night. And I didn't even take any sleeping pills or melatonin or nothing. No drinks, nothing. I dreamt that I was in the yard and this animal came along that was like a hybrid of a bear and maybe like a cheetah. It was a bear that had spots all over it, but like a bear's head. and it almost looked like a Muppet, kind of a monster, like from a kid show. It looked cute but fierce and enormous. And I remember I was trying to get away from it, and I went into a cafe. Right, there was like a cafe nearby that had like the open walls, and I went and sat at the bar. And while I was sitting there, I could see the thing was walking back and forth, and I just had this feeling it was waiting for me to come back out. And I thought, Jesus, how am I going to get away from this thing? What even is this thing? And I was trying to take pictures of it, but for some reason, every time I tried to take a picture of it, this is so stupid. Um, it disappeared. Like it just went away. It went like, and I couldn't get the picture. And I thought, nobody's ever going to believe me that this thing has like cheetah spots on it. What a weird dream, right? And I remember I said something in the dream because I said something that I thought in my head was clever. Maybe it wasn't. But I half woke up and I thought, oh, I should turn that into a rug. And then I forgot. But you just reminded me of that with that comment about the bears. Thank you. It might occur to me while I'm about to fall asleep tonight, that phrase, because I thought, oh, that would be really funny on a rug. Immediately fell back asleep. Oh, Gail, great to see you. Oh, we want you anytime. Um, Let me just catch up. Jessica, great to see you. You sent some beautiful stuff we'll be looking at too. Hello, everybody. Yay, gallery night. I'm folding a bunch of wool I just got on Facebook Marketplace. Fantastic. I'm glad that you said that too, because I've noticed on our Facebook Marketplace, I got to send somebody an email, not on Facebook Marketplace. Um, Somebody did write me though, because they have a lot of wool. When people pass away and things change or whatever, sometimes I get these messages that make me sad. And I always want to help the person with the stuff, but it doesn't really make sense at this moment with the move for me to be buying stuff like that. So if the girl I'm in touch with right now, if her stuff is local or wherever it is, we're not a buy and sell group on the Facebook group, but there is the sister group, so I can kind of direct people to that. I always try to pass it on somehow when I find out about great local hauls, but I can't really take hauls myself, because if I were to take someone's wool and or their supplies or whatever and do something great with it and then sell it as a kit or something, it would be a finite amount, because I would be trying to match the colors and dye the colors without knowing the recipes or the actual color. It'd be really difficult. It's not worth it for me, but it's worth it for you all. So definitely be checking Facebook Marketplace. Check more than once a day. You never know. Check rug hooking, rug making, handmade rug supplies, right? It's surprising how much stuff is there. And sometimes I make that radius much larger, because your radius is set, whether you know it or not. It might be set to 200 miles. It might be set to 4 miles, right? I always have to check. Sometimes I'm surprised, like, why is it set to 300 miles? I see something I'm in love with, and it's like it's halfway across the country, not at 300 miles, but you know what I mean. And I think, oh, that was disappointing. And then I realized that it's reset and it's got a different radius. But you can make your radius bigger, because a lot of people are willing to ship stuff. And if you really want a deal, like on a great haul like that, people are not going to ship it. They want to give it to somebody, sell it to someone who's local. So be looking at Facebook Marketplace, even if you're not a Facebook user. Just check it out. Nobody uses Craigslist anymore, right? Like for the most part, nobody uses it. So be checking on there, because there are a lot of people right now, at least in my local Facebook Marketplace, who have wool that they're trying to get rid of, like a lot. So I'm glad, Jessica. That sounds like a great haul. How fun is that? All right, let me come back over here and let's look at this composition before we look at the other version of it. It's a little bit off center. I'm just going to move it sideways a little bit. So again, this is a Michelle Palmer design. Really, really lovely. And I'm wondering if this is, and maybe Wendy, it's not even a known thing, but I wonder if this originally was a punch needle design. Many of her designs are based on fracture, or have that kind of feel, very whimsical feel, very character driven stuff, cute storytelling stuff. A lot of fractory stuff in terms of like the shapes of the flowers and the tulips, and certainly the birds. Just part like all rolled into her style. This is very different for me, Wendy, because this is not a typical color palette for her. So I love these colors. I love how much neutral is in the background of this. I love the super filigree quality of the leaves that are just curling, almost like, again, fracture inspired. Lots of curling shapes that kind of hint of calligraphy, right? And they make such great motifs, these kinds of leaves. Instead of doing really articulated leaves all over the place, it makes a very fine sort of skeleton up top and on the side. You still get this great energy, this great movement, and very easy to hook. A lot of single line hooking here, right? Gail loves it. I love it too. And I love the colors. I love this gray. It's a very middle gray, right? It's not dove gray. It's got a little more brown in it. It's a nice flat background gray. Not complete. I mean, there is a little bit of variegation in the background. It's a little bit mottled, but it really holds as a neutral in the background, and it allows the color, all those great cranberry colors, to really lift off the background. And while this is a very graphic approach, Michelle Palmer, right, to hooking, it has a lot of stylization, but it also has a lot of great effects in it. The chest of the bird on the left has that great kind of shading, right, flow to it. But the leaf is very graphic. Nice little pinstripe down the center of the leaf, swirling tail, beautiful shapes. That's what I think about when I think of Michelle Palmer. Beautiful shapes, very thoughtful, sort of arabesque shapes. I think of the word flourish, lots of flourishes, but also very stable. That single flower in the middle, it's what I would call a finger flower, right? With those little sort of fronds or whatever they'd be called, stamen sticking up. Um, it's a very delicate flower. If this were a real flower, which it can't possibly be, um, it would be unlikely, wouldn't it? As hanging on that one little fine stem. But seeing this done in a composition gives it this built in whimsy. It gives us this sort of sense of fun. And the amount of colors that are added, lots of colors in the red family. And I love that because there's warm ones and cool ones. The gray in the background is rather cool. All of those cranberries are popping, those terracotta colors are popping, but there is a little bit of peach, there's a little bit of mauve, there's a little bit of like lime green or yellow in there. Really, really interesting and very fine. I love the way that some of the swirling sort of tendrils go from dark to light rather quickly. That is so lyrical and pretty to my eye. I just love the fineness and the lightness of this piece. The very idea of these birds sitting on these fine little curls of stems, right, and leaves is fun and funny and playful, and it's just a gorgeous piece. I also love the way that Michelle Palmer uses a lot of dit dots, for lack of a better word, pitons, like little balls, right? Little sort of berry type balls, but not placed like berries. They're decorative. The ones in the corner, right? Those are more like little berries. But the ones underneath are just for fun. It adds so much to the composition. Sometimes when you draw out a composition like this, you think to yourself, okay, one bird, two birds, okay, we're getting there. And then do you dare to add all these swirls and curls to it? Because if you do dare, you might end up with a composition like this that is absolutely gorgeous and fine and sort of a one of a kind, right? This is a commercial pattern because it's Michelle Palmer's pattern. But when you do a sketch like this, you know how kind of tenuous it is as you go. You put one little curl in the wrong place and you think, oh, Diane, great to see you. And Janet, great to see you. Welcome back. Happy Friday. When you're doing a composition like that and you put one little curl in the wrong place, you know how sometimes it can set you right off. And you think to yourself, oh, great, now I've screwed it up. I mean, I know that feeling. And sometimes you hope you have an eraser, right? Or that you can fix it. Because sometimes it comes down to, just like real life, comes down to one curl. And that's the difference between having a great day and things going right or being absolutely angry that you screwed something up, right? And that's just the way it is. So it works that way in design too. It's always worth having tracing paper when you're doing fine designs with lots of filigree elements like this, because you can change your mind. You want to fill the space, but you don't want to overwhelm the space, right? You want to do some nice storytelling, but you want to maintain balance in this sort of like, at least with Palmer's work, there's a sort of lacy fretwork that is the overlay to the whole composition. And once that's set and once that composition is good, you're looking at the lines and thinking, this is perfect. What could be better? Nothing could be better. So we're going to run with it. Then it just becomes a question of what colors am I going to use? And Wendy, there might be a delay, but was the class about actually hooking, or was the class about choosing your colors, making color plans? Was there anything technique? What was the main thrust of the class, I wonder, because she wanted everybody to wait until they were present in class to start working on this piece. And again, this is called Perched in the Garden. What a lot of fun, right? What a beautiful piece. Dave, good to see you. Hope everybody is well working on your quilt, eating ham and scalloped potatoes. That sounds like heaven. That sounds like decadent heaven. And what are you drinking? It's going to be something nice. Is it cider? I bet it's cider. I saw a sweater this week that said, oh, I wish I had shown you. I'll see if I can get it later. I went to a candle making class the other day at a local store. I was trying to meet some people because, we've moved now. It was at a cute little sort of home store with some vintage stuff and some new stuff, lots of books. And it was a candle making class in these little wooden dough bowls that are small in wood, and they're each carved individually somewhere in South America. Beautiful. And, um, we chose our scents. We passed around the scents, and I kind of thought I had brain damage because they're so strong, like bottles of overwhelming scent. I don't do well with stuff like that. But we passed them around, and I chose, weirdly, I chose like mint chocolate chip. I know it sounds gross, and it sounds like it smells like frosting, but it actually had a bit of a foresty smell to it. It was minty. We poured the wax in, we heated it up and stirred it, poured it in with the scent mixed in, and then she had all of these jars. It was like wild apothecary times, filled with different kinds of flowers. And she knew they were all dried flowers. She knew what the flowers were. I knew anise. That was the one I knew with the little stars. I didn't know any of the other flowers, but she had orange ones and pink ones and ones that were the color of like tea rose and dusty rose and purple. And then she had some jars that were small crystals. It looked like gravel for the driveway, but they were the impossibly shiny crystals. And one jar was blue, one was orange. It was so beautiful. I took some pictures. I'll post them in my Facebook group. I didn't take pictures with other people in them, just of my bowl. But it came out so beautiful and so much fun. And while we were in the store, I was browsing after, but I felt like my hands were a bit oily, so I didn't want to touch anything. They had a new sweater hanging on the wall that said whiskey weather. And I thought, oh, I think I'm going to get that for this season. That sounds so good. Cider. I knew it was cider. I know you. Such a lot of fun. So Wendy might have stepped away, but I'm thinking that a lot of this class had to do with hooking, but also color planning. And I'd be really surprised if everybody in this Michelle Palmer class that occurred again in, where was it? Ohio, Wisconsin? No. Where was it? Pennsylvania? I think Pennsylvania, right? Pittsburgh. So yes, Pennsylvania. I would be so surprised if everybody did the same color palette, because with Michelle Palmer's work, so much of it is like that bright sky blue, really bright colors. But this is what Wendy went for. Wendy always does something super painterly and very, very fine. So because she knew that she wasn't supposed to do the main event before the class, she was supposed to do it in class. She did a small sort of prototype that was half the scale. So instead of being 20 by 20 like the top one, the bottom one is 10 by 10. She did it as a bit of a dry run before the class started. And I will show you an enlargement, but you know that this is Wendy. Wendy said everyone worked on different patterns. Okay, that's right, because you said you picked Perched in the Garden. So she just Michelle kind of watched you hooking and made comments about styles of hooking. Was that kind of the idea? Because the filigree thing really is her thing. She kind of owns that look. And with Mini Punch, because there's such an emphasis on Mini Punch within her brand, it's interesting because all of her designs work really well tiny. And you would think, how's that possible? Because they're quite busy. They're really not busy designs. That's the magic of Michelle Palmer. They're not as busy as they look. A lot of those lines are lines that can be modified or even removed. It's all holding the shape or the motif on the inside. When she says style as well as technique, it sounds like a lot of fun. So while you were anticipating the class, you decided to give it a go with a different material in a smaller scale. So if you all know Wendy and you remember one of the mediums that I feel she's best known for, um, you want to make a guess as to what material was used for this smaller 10 by 10 version. Wendy said the small version could have been punched. Oh, I see. Because you enlarged it. So this was 10 by 10 the original size? Was that the size that other people would have had if they were punching it? And did Michelle mind whether people finished in class, or was it kind of like, whatever works? So this is an unusual, very non-traditional material. I'm gonna stretch it out just a little bit. Wendy, is it awful to say I love the full-size one, but I feel like I love this one even more because the material is so unusual and a bit challenging and just a little masterpiece. I just love it when you go off on benders and do this stuff. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you and see if you can catch some of the detail here. See if you can get a feel for that. And because there's a delay, I will do a spoiler. And you probably have, if you meant to, punch some ideas first. These are plastic bags, right, Wendy? So this 10 by 10 version is hooked with plastic bags. And you have since mounted the smaller one, so this one um, on a canvas frame. Perfect. Because that would fit right on a standard like painter's frame. Absolutely beautiful. Now, historically, if you've been with us a while, we've seen Wendy do projects like this, rugs like this, with plastic bags. And by plastic bags, I mean shopping bags, like the plastic ones that you leave the store with, right? And Wendy, you must have such a selection of colors at this point, because this is quite a good prototype because it's really close to the colors that you chose, the reds, the oranges, the pinks that you chose for the larger finished piece. I just love the background of this. Judy, happy Friday. Great to see you. Great to see you. Um, we are just looking at two pieces that Wendy did in a Michelle Palmer class in Pittsburgh. And this smaller version that I also used for the thumbnail of tonight's show was hooked with plastic bags, making the point, and you can see in the background, it looks like some of the plastic bags might have a little bit of text or logo on them, and it's giving gray areas. And if you remember, and I'm going to go back to it, the larger one, well, I'll show you both together. The larger one has a little color variation as well, right? It's a little bit mottled. So does the one done in plastic bags. But the thing that's giving, I think, the light or white plastic bags, the color is the text on them that occurs, fairly infrequently. Otherwise, it would be a way more dynamic looking background. It'd be very unreadable, right? But this is very subdued. And Wendy was able to use quite a bit of the light to get that great balance in the top or bottom. Oh, Catherine, you didn't get notified. Cheers, my dears. Oh, sorry about that. Wonder what was going on there. So happy to see you, though. I love both of these pieces so much, Wendy. I'm so happy that you mounted the bottom one so that that is there for posterity. I love the top one too. Michelle Palmer, one of the absolute greats, right? And Michelle Palmer is one of the names that we've been talking about at Tigger. We would love to have her teaching for Tigger. And Tigger is in it's October of 2027. It starts on Halloween, right? The big opening night for Tigger will be Halloween 2027. That's easy to remember. And will it be a costume party with a crazy ghost walk after it for those who want to? Of course it will. Um, it's miles away, but it might not be far enough away to book Michelle Palmer. So she's one of the names that came up during our talk the other day, our Tigger talk. And we're brainstorming names of people. Some of you sent in some names of people that I followed up on brands and stuff. You gave me some great suggestions. So we've got a good list that we're whacking away at. And we've done up some Tigger contracts, teacher contracts, so that as soon as we know which teachers we have a commitment from, I will tell you. I will tell you as we go. Catherine said, I already have my costume. You are so funny. That is so great. That is so great. Hold on one second. I'm just going to open this door because now Buttons is scratching. He's like a cat. He's worse than a cat, I'll tell you. I'll just leave this a little bit open. There he goes. So he can come and go as he likes. I don't like him to ever feel like he's not wanted, little cutie. You have a costume already. That is so funny. Gail says, do plastic bags not break down in America? Um, um, do you mean ultimately, or do you mean um, do we automatically recycle them? Um, or do you mean they like in Australia they break down rather quickly, like they're made to be in permanent kind of thing? Interesting. I wonder. I don't know. I don't know the answer. Oh, Judy says, Gail, most stores don't use biodegradable bags here, I'm afraid. Okay, Judy, thank you. That was really helpful. Um, okay, so as opposed to bags that would break down quickly, right? I did notice, and this is a weird thing, but lately Teddy's been obsessed with going to this food franchise called Cane's. Do you have that near you? Because for me, this was new. I have to say the chicken was rather good. Like it looked like real chicken. It was nice chicken, and they gave the food in. Guess who's back? They gave the food in bags that were like like the sort of papery bags that are kind of stiff, fake paper, real thin, like that. But like they gave the food in a cloth bag, and I thought, oh, isn't that weird? It was just white with red writing, but if it weren't, I might have gotten excited because I thought, ooh, it's garbagey enough. The bag, it's not was not plastic. It was definitely a fiber. It's garbagey enough that you wouldn't want to use it a second time because you feel like the handles would rip off or something. It's not that good of a bag, right? But he's so cute. But yeah, it made me think: is that the next era of shopping bags? I wondered. They break down. Gail says they break down quickly there. Yeah, I think you've got more sophisticated bags, more environmentally conscious bags than we have here. But for Wendy and people who I think a lot of people have been inspired by Wendy, I think and I know that there's a lot more hookers out there who are looking for plastic bags to hook with. And I think Wendy, it's down to you and talking about these pieces of yours on the show and in books and magazines and things like that. It's so extraordinary to think that you can hook something that almost looks like crystal, like actual like mineral crystal, with these really articulated kinds of loops. I mean, it's just astonishing. It looks completely different than hooking anything else that's a softer fiber. And it does turn into, I think, something of a scavenger hunt, because if you know that you mean to hook with bags or hook part of your piece with bags, and you're looking for a pink bag or a brown bag, that's a bit of a scavenger hunt, and that can be a lot of fun, right? That can be a lot of fun. So I am moving on. Let me get my next thing button. So you're gonna go. He very comfy, but he gonna go. He gonna go so I can turn the paper over. There he goes. Okay, Danny, great to see you. Welcome back. Danny, I think I saw you here, unless I was imagining it. So, I'm so happy to get something from you. It has been a little time. Um, we all take breaks to do different things, right? That's for sure. And you kind of have to keep your sanity, don't you? You can't go full blast all the time. No, nobody can. Catherine, you have canes in Southern California. Yeah, the only thing I would say against it is all they got is chicken, and it's fine, if that's what you want, chicken and fries, and that's the magic sauce that they do that it had a very vinegar base, I thought, which I love, but it was kind of like it's a secret sauce, and I had it and I thought immediately it's vinegar, that's that's the secret ingredient. Very nice, very very tangy and tart. You know what I mean? He is gorgeous. He is an angel. He's an angel dog. I couldn't live without him. He's such a good boy. Tiny sausage. Okay, Danny, you sent us some beautiful work. Let me read what you sent first, and then we'll look at the images. So Danny writes, hi, Deanna. I think I've missed several gallery nights, but I've slowly been working on a few things. I haven't been making as much because my friend and I have been doing some art and craft markets together. That's fantastic. What a lot of fun, and 'tis the season, isn't it? It's fun to get to talk to people in person, let them feel everything and explain rug hooking. That's great outreach, Danny. I love that. That is just what we all want, to see more of that, right? There's not one of us who doesn't want to see more of that. And even cooler when people know what it is. It is great when people know what it is, isn't it? And it's great when you're working on a hooking project or a punching project and they come to you, because you think, oh, here's my chance, right? Here's my chance. It's, you want to describe how it's done um, in an accurate way without making it sound tricky, because it's not tricky, right? Um, um, Diane says, Gail, I'm in Illinois and all my plastic bags are non-woven fabrics. Storage cube and reusable. That's what it is, like the storage cube fabrics and reusable grocery bags, garment bags disintegrate into powder within a year. I do wonder. Ah, yeah, hopefully not. If it's my ozonator that makes the plastic breakdown, not sure, but I don't know. That's really interesting. I never thought of any of that angle, because in my mind, plastic is plastic. Plastic is, Wendy, you said it a while ago, like an heirloom material at this point, because true plastic, right, never breaks down. Interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on that. I hope that these pieces obviously last forever and a day, at least. So Danny's been out at some markets. What is that?
Pumpkin.
Is it a beer?
Yeah.
Did you already open it?
No.
I don't know if I want it. I do want it, but I think I'd rather have some water. I just hate to here. I just hate to. I do want a pumpkin beer, but I'd rather save the calories because I got some biscotti um, for later for later. Um, Thank you though. Thank you. It's way more interesting than a water, but I'll stick with the water. Went to the doctor today about my weight. Stick with water. So Danny says, I don't remember if I shared the star pillow with you. And Danny, you did not share the star pillow, but I made it for my cousin's wedding as a gift. I thought the colors and star would be fitting since they live in Texas. Perfect. Thank you so much. It looks like a glass of wine, my favorite glass. She loved it so much she asked for another and offered to pay. She asked for it to match the navy blue in their house and gave me complete creative control beyond that. They were both really fun to make and used up a lot of fabric, which I like. Let's look at those two first. Um, let's see. Okay, so this is one of them. I'm going to show you two of these star pillows. And if you were thinking, "Oh, it's going to be a star." Well, Aryan, you did it again. The dog is trapped in here. Thanks. If you were Don't get triggered. Don't he just close the door again? Again. Whew. Okay. If you were thinking it was going to be a star, just a star, it's not just a star, is it? It is a super dynamic star. It is a bombastic star. It is a startastic star. So many colors. You know, this is hit or miss. This is hit or miss at its best. And again, sometimes I do this myself, at least. I think about the use of hit or miss and how I will relegate it to the border or the background or certain parts of my composition, but not all of it, right? Because hit or miss can be so confusing to look at. Well, sometimes if you have a very simple motif, you can put your foot down on the gas and just blast the hit or miss through the entire composition. That is what Danny has done here. The star is hit or miss, and the background is also hit or miss. It is so energized looking at this thing, right? It's almost like you can see it within the galaxy, and there's all of this dust, stardust all around swirling, right? So beautiful. And the opportunity and the challenge of using bits and pieces that you already have to fill in the hit or miss elements, in this case, the whole thing. What a lot of fun, right? Keeping the lights and the yellows together for the star, but there's also some lights in the background that give it this really high contrast swirl. Really unusual. I've definitely seen a lot of rug hooking compositions that are stars, right? Or that have stars that are quite flat. This is not like that at all. This is very, very different. So that's one of the stars that I think this was the inspiration, or it was going on this. Maybe even, I wonder if this was hooked into this, Danny. I'm not sure. Let me see if there's more photos to give us some clues, but that is the sort of proportion of it, right? And then this secondary star. Hold on one second while I just take a sip. You are there, stardust. Yep. It's what it reminds me of. And I love this one too, Danny. I have to say, is this the crate where the horrific accident took place, where the dog was eating it through? That's not happening again. Obviously, this is in very good shape. That's never happening again. It seems like the scene of the crime to me. Diane says, yeah, Gail, I'm sticking with cotton and wool because I don't know with my new grocery bags, all my 1.00 grocery bags fell apart into powder. This is an interesting side conversation. I would also really like to know what the deal is with these. This is one of the sort of plights and worries of people who do thrift crafts. We are the magpies of the craft world, us and quilters, but I think even more so us, because I think quilters go quite far with scrapping it up, right? But I think rug hookers go even farther. Anything that we see that's the right color, the right texture, the right sparkle, we take it and we use it. And it is a worry that things would sort of disintegrate years from now. But then again, I'm looking at a Victorian quilt on the opposite wall, and half of that has disintegrated. And it's still quite beautiful, right? So To be continued. That's a big to be continued, right? Same crate. I knew it. I knew it. Um, Gorgeous teal and copper star. It is so gorgeous. The colors are beautiful for both. Really complementary colors, right? The yellow with the kind of yellowy whites with the red and maroons, really dynamic. The Van Gogh palette, right? The blues with the oranges, super dynamic. And again, darker on the outside, lighter on the inside. The star is really fine in both cases, very sharp. It's almost like one of those architectural metal stars that you see on the outside of a house, sometimes for real, right, holding the floors in place with rods that go right through the thing. Really sharp, stately stars. And the fact of the star being so crisp and so strong a shape, it's a perfect star, makes it extra easy, possible, and even encouraged to go berserk in the background, doesn't it? All of this wild color. Danny, I'm just going to open this, stretch this just a little bit because I do love to see with your pieces. You are such a super, super duper thrifter. Like you love using everything and you put stuff together in a way that is the original way. It is like the old time way. Cutting stuff up, right, with scissors. Danny, you still using scissors? I don't mean still. I mean, I hope you will always use scissors. But I think that you did before, and I'm thinking you still are. And you're able to do these great effects that really look like 19th century pieces. I'm seeing different kinds of fabric here, a few fabrics that are printed. It is just such an assemblage of color and texture and weight. And it turns into one beautiful piece that is just amazing. Jessica says, I love this so much. I missed what kind of material this is. So Danny, what do you think? Is this on burlap? Um, Jessica, Danny works very much in the style that you work in, kind of thrifting things, finding things, cutting things up, figuring it out. Danny says, always scissors. And I hope that never changes. I really do. I love the style that you work in. And Danny and Jessica, you should know each other. You both work in a very similar style. You work in the pantsy style, which means the seat of the pants. You both just grab a backing fabric and draw something, have an idea, grab supplies and just go for it. And neither of you do, as far as I know, right? Danny, I remember your work very well from the beginning. And Jessica, I know you and your work very well too. You don't agonize about stuff the way that some people do. And that can be such a barrier to creativity when you are kind of chasing your tail and following yourself down dead ends of thought, panicking or maybe stalling, right, on some level, um, procrastinating, right? Neither of you do that. You both are very energized workers, just right in, cutting stuff up, making it work. And Danny, you're going to see some of Jessica's stuff later in the show, and you're going to love it because, yeah, it's a very similar style. You're both very, very authentic and true to the original idea of rug hooking, right? You're doing it the way that it was done then. And you both did that naturally. You didn't need to be taught or told how to do it. You both just naturally did it, like instinctively, which I love about the work. And so Danny goes on to say, this is text from the email. The last one is this Halloween house pillow cover. I guess I've been on a kick. I'm trying punch needle for the first time. Even with a punch needle that seems too big for this weave, I'm amazed at how fast it goes compared to rug hooking. But I still love the feel of different fabrics, so they can't really compare. I'd love some advice on how to make the gate look more clear. It's hard looking at it from the back. Okay. Thanks, and I look forward to seeing what everyone has made. Okay, so let's look at this together, and there will be a couple of close-ups with the gate. So this looks like the working side of the punch needle. Totally agree. It goes super, super fast, and that is one of the great things about it. Um, with a piece like, and I love this design, Danny. I absolutely love it. I love it made me think about it's a haunted house looking house, but it does have a lot of crosses, which made me think of Transylvania churches, like, all of the sort of religious overtones that are in the real sort of Dracula story, the bats, right? All of it. But it did make me think, and this one actually made me smile because when I saw it, I thought, like, has that haunted house vibe. And I immediately thought, how can you make something have such a haunted house vibe with such a simple shape? And it's like the crookedness of it, right? The leaning, that sort of dangerous feel, the unsafe feel. It's unstable, right? It makes you feel off kilter and not safe at all. And that is the fun of being a little bit scared on Halloween, right? Is putting you making you look at things that are a little bit unsafe. And architecture can be one of those many things. So it's going well, as I can see. This is a view of we just saw the working side, and this is going to be the front side. So this is a view, and you're seeing how your pieces are popping up, and it looks like they're popping up great. There's always going to be, particularly when you're learning little holidays, I think you're leaving room, though, for windows and things like that. But I see what you're saying. Let me show you. This is the door. So let's give Danny some help. This is what it looks like on the back, and it looks very orderly, right? And you would fully expect that when you flip this over, that it's going to look like this, just maybe a little bit pixelated. But I get what you're saying. This is too pixelated. The ironwork, right, is not showing up. Nosferatu's autumn summer home. That is funny. That is funny. Oh, I wish the kids would get into those old movies like that. That'd be so much fun. Because they watch scary stuff now. Oh, I love it. Um, I get now who's more of a puncher than I am, right? Because you get what we're saying here. It looks like it's going to come out like, let me put them side by side. Let's put them side by side because I have some ideas too. And I'm not a huge puncher, but I have some ideas that I think might help. So let's look at these together and say, okay, let's see. So one of the things in my mind that might be happening, Danny, and again, I'm much more of a rug hooker than a puncher, but one of the things is that the pile might be a little bit, I don't know, is it a little bit high? It's not too high. I'm looking at the loops and it's not too high. You know what you might need, and this may be coming from the mouth of a packer, you might need just more loops because I'm looking at, and I want to see what other people say too. I'm looking at the door, and there is a little bit showing. There is supposed to be like channels showing for sure. But I think when you want really defined contrast, and in this case, like ironwork, you want really straight lines, it might be that you have to pack it a little bit more than you do the rest of it just to get those loops standing right next to each other. In my mind, that would be the next thing I would try. Marty says, hey, Marty. Marty says, so the door on the front looks like the door on the back, and the back will have a higher pile. Yeah, exactly. Um, exactly. And I think I understood that. And I think my brain is saying, yeah, that's what we're seeing. And Jessica says it's got a vampire feel with the crosses and bats. I love the design. Me too. It's a great design. And I could tell from the drawing, I'm thinking you drew it right onto the backing yourself. Love how you do that too. That's another thing you two have in common. Jessica says, I'm paying attention to the tips because that bothers me anytime I've tried to punch too. You know, I think that's all it is. I don't think there's a problem here. I think you need more loops. And it's worth noting, and it's not a problem and it's not a mistake, but it's worth noting that the black grid I'm looking at the working side on the right, is a little, as it should be, a little bit wonky, right? It's not perfectly straight. So you know that you're expecting lines that are a little bit crooked, and that is part of the design. But there are not enough, for example, if we're just looking at the black ironwork, there are not enough loops to make the design. So it's almost like a connect the dots in my mind, but there's not enough dots to make a really clear design. I think you just need more loops. I think you might have to, I hate to say it, but I think you might have to pull out the black, sorry, just the, not the shape, not the outline, but just the ironwork and do it again. I'm thinking about what order I would do this in because I see that you crossed over a little bit. You did some orange over the ironwork, so you might have to take that out. Is it, Danny, is it the kind of material where you might be able to hook into it too? Because I really believe that what you need is more loops. I think if you have a lot more loops, it's going to stand out and be really precise. But I think you need more both orange and black loops. The design was already on the pillow. Oh, okay. Oh, neat. Okay. Oh, I see. You're punching over an existing design. That's super cool. So you might not, I was going to say you could flip it over and hook it. I would just keep going, just add lots more punches. And is your hook, I'm sorry, is your punch really big? Because you said, seems like the punch is too big for this. Do you have a smaller punch? Because this looks like a thin gauge yarn. It seems like you could put this into a much smaller punch and punch a lot more spaces. And the more loops that you punch, the more loops that will be standing up side by side, shoulder to shoulder on the front side. And they'll hold each other in place, right? They'll support each other on every side. I just think you need loads more. And I know normally it's like don't pack, don't do pack, but with something like this, the grid is a really definite design. You need all as much information as you can get in there. And I feel like if you can't get more in there with if your punch needle is too big, is like a regular, a really big bulky one, it might be that you need a smaller one because a smaller one will take this yarn for sure. And then you could pop a whole bunch more um, stitches in it. Also depend loops. Also depending on what kind of tool you're using, it might be that you could, for example, punch the orange a little bit higher. It does look a little recessed. I saw that. Marty says it will look recessed. So let me catch up on these. Marty says low pile on the front, closer together. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. Just need more loops. That's all. There's no problem. And you know, if this is a material that isn't used to getting punched, maybe you shouldn't. If it's an existing pillow, maybe don't take it out because you might not be able to get it back in. So maybe don't take it out, but I would look for ways to add more. And you will be so happily surprised when you do. You will be able to shimmy in lots more loops. There's tons more room in there. You could fit in, I would say, twice as many loops, almost twice as many loops. And it's going to really pop the design on the other side. The design was already on pillow. Whenever someone tells you you're allowed to pack, take it. That's right, and run with it. Absolutely. I'm also a chronic packer. It is such a lot of fun, right? Because you know that you've gotten like everything, every little hole, every little bit. No holidays. Um, I totally agree. And Danny says yes. I've already needed a bit of help from a hook. Okay, that's a great tip. I've been looking for a smaller punch, but so far no luck. Okay, so you just need. Trying to think of ones that are out there. I mean, I sell a smaller one. I don't like. I'm not here to promote my stuff, but I sell the smaller size. Um, the bulky one is tricky because punching with the bulky ones, you can use much thicker weight fiber, and that is a lot of fun, and that's a great relief to have that kind of choice. But it does pop big holes into the backing, and then you can't really pull them back out, right? It's too sketchy, not knowing whether they'd go back in again. So I think I would leave it like this and just get back in there as well as you can with the punch that you have, or ferret around for a finer punch, right? The fine or the smaller punch, the worsted weight punch, that's the smaller one, and pop tons more loops in there, and you're going to see those black lines like stand up at attention. They just need support on the sides and all around. They need support from the other loops to really stand up. Right now they're relaxing into each other and they're making their own shapes because they've got too much room. And I think that's all it is. Barbara says maybe just need maybe. Oh, Barbara, that's a great idea. Oh, Danny, this is brilliant. Barbara says, why don't you just use a tapestry needle and just stitch them in? You could absolutely do that because you could get even fine. So if you could stop looking around for a smaller punch, and it's easier to get a tapestry needle. Just get in there. Try to do a similar height. Doesn't have to be exactly the same. Just get in there and fill in those empty spots, and you are going to see an immediate change. Barbara, that's brilliant. That's exactly what needs to happen. So Danny, keep us updated. It's a beautiful piece. I can't wait to see it finished. That is going to fix the problem. So absolutely brilliant. Great idea. Just more stitches. That's all. Nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong at all. My hand is itching to fill in those white areas. I know it, right? I have the same thing. I'm that kind of a brain, and you drive yourself crazy. It is genius. Thank you so much, Barbara. That was really amazing. But I think we all could see we just need more stitches here. That's all. No problems. Isn't it great when there's actually no problem? It's just like, by all means, carry on, right? Oh shoot! I forgot I was going to wear my jacket to show you guys as a joke. You girls, you guys. everybody, I was going to wear my jacket, my backet, and I forgot. But let's look at Linda's. Hers is prettier than mine anyway. I'll do that joke another night. Linda, you sent in some beautiful pictures as well. Linda Schultes Hoffman. And Linda, you are another friend who is synonymous with Halloween, right? It's like Halloween is your middle name in my mind. Linda writes, I just finished these two jacket back pieces, backets. They are both made from a variety of materials, yarn, cut wool t-shirt material. Linda also hooks in the same style, right? Cuts up lots of stuff, uses what she has, puts it together, figures it out, puts it together with confidence, uses lots of different materials. Linda says, I attach them with safety pins so I can switch them out easily and because I'm lazy. Well, lazy has its place, that's for sure. When you are lazy, you may be lazy. I'm not going to go along with it. I'm going to fight you and say, I bet you're not at all lazy. You get a lot done. But there is a lot to be said for doing things the easy way, right? Because in this case, pinning it on gives you great flexibility and it seems kind of genius, right? You didn't work yourself into a corner like I did stitching the thing on and then you're kind of stuck with it. So I kind of like this idea, right? I know some people have been attaching backet pieces with Velcro. So also possible. Because why not, right? Why not? You might not want if you have you know how jean jackets are. They're just like jeans, aren't they? Wait a minute, I want to talk about this piece before I move on. They're just like jeans, and when they fit well and they're worn in, you don't want to get rid of them, right? You want to just wear them as often as possible. They're comfortable. Everything is right. That Kleenex from last year is still in the pocket. That's comforting, right? It's weirdly comforting to put my hands in my pockets and find Kleenex from last year. Isn't that gross? But in my mind, it's like, yeah, there's something very positive about that. Still there. But yeah, when you have something that you really love to wear, why not just change the piece out on it so you can wear it more, right? Nothing wrong with that. That huge trend in the 80s, so late 70s and 80s with reversible clothing, reversible quilts, reversible everything. It's because you love the thing and you don't want to take it away. You don't want to stop using it. You want to use it twice as much. You want to use it always. This is a great thought. So I love this piece. It is such a happy skeleton, beautiful skeleton, happy face, upside down heart nose, fine little body, fine little bony body with a vibrant heart on the inside. Beautiful colors, as usual, very Linda color palette. I would know this color palette anywhere. I love these big sort of Frida Kahlo flowers on the turban head. And I love that they all have that black center, that big happy black center. Bit of a 70s feel to the flowers. Otherwise, just really colorful and bright palette. Very happy skeleton. Sometimes skeletons for me can go either way because they're either super miserable, and I design some miserable ones too that are more on the spooky side. Linda, you always do such cheerful looking skeletons, right? They are perfectly happy with their lot. They have happy faces, right? They're Linda skeletons. I absolutely love this piece. And I love the cheerfulness of decorating the skeleton just as if she were alive, right? With beautiful flowers. I mean, it really is such a sweet idea. And it's the perfect time of year for it. Little crossover to Day of the Dead iconography as well. And this is the other Beckett that can be switched out. So there's no mistaking these two. This has a lot of things in common, although it's a completely different composition. Linda loves to do faces. And weirdly, even with simple faces, Linda's faces, they are all very different. I feel like when I do faces, particularly pumpkin faces, with the exception of my sugar skulls, just regular jack-o'-lanterns, they always kind of look the same. Linda's always have really distinctive expressions, and that's why stacking them in this totem type composition is a lot of fun, right? It's very colorful. This would also go great on the back of the same jean jacket. Looks like some pistachio fill on the inside. Unusual colors, unexpected colors. Very festive and seasonal. Both of these pieces are great, and it's just great fun to be able to switch them out and keep this pretty jacket on. I love the Backets. I'm always happy to see them. Ryan, it is our annual piece that we have to see. We have to see. Ryan, this was one of Ryan's first pieces, right? And this was, gosh, Ryan, was it 3 years ago? Was it 4 years ago? you came right out of the gate rug hooking and you started doing your own designs, your own work right out of the gate. And this was one of the early pieces. And when I saw this, I just about died because I thought this is the very essence of a important primitive, right? Like all, all of the things in this composition, it's like a still life, a primitive still life. We've got the two houses, we've got like the path leading out, we've got the jack-o'-lantern. The face on the jack-o'-lantern is so specific, right? It's very you can't you won't forget it, right? The broom, the candy, the oversized star, right? And the color variation from the pumpkin to the background to the sky, there's such color variation. It is like it's a composition that is like a still life composite of many different elements that we in shapes that we like to use in rug hooking, all put together in this quite small piece, right? So this is a 12 by 12 piece. It's obviously an original design. This is acrylic and hand dyed wool yarn on burlap. And every year in October we look at this piece and we always have to because it makes me smile. It reminds me of the early days of us running these shows, and it reminds me of how happy and excited I was when I saw this piece for the first time. And I thought, wow, people in Ryan, you are absolutely a beginner. I thought people are doing the most incredible work. It's just so much fun for me at this point, early days of ribbon candy hooking, looking at something like this, it just made me think, you know what? I have faith that we will, at least within the sort of parameters of this brand, among ourselves, we will go full blast into primitive, into graphic design, into every um, part of rug hooking, every sort of technique. We will do that at ribbon candy hooking, even if it's not the way or the right way or the best way or the known way or the taught way. It doesn't matter. This made me think, we're going to do it. We're all going to do the kind of work we like, and we're going to get better and better as time goes on. And that is just what has happened. It's not a case of getting better, right? It's a case of doing more of the work that you were always meant to do. It's never about being better, because I have to say, some of my favorite things that I've done are things I did years ago when I was a kid. And I've used a lot of those drawings from being in my parents' basement as a kid. In my teens, I've used a lot of those drawings in my compositions over the years because I still love them. And they were good. When they're good, they're good, right? And I've done plenty of bad stuff too. And I've, eliminated a lot of things that I thought about or toyed with or tried to doctor and just couldn't make it work. But just because something, just because you made something early in your sort of hobby career doesn't mean that it is like the poorest example, right? It could be that that's the best thing you will ever do in your life. You just happen to do it at the beginning. But sometimes things at the beginning have a different spirit to them. They have a bit more soul because you're digging into all of your resources, right? It's like when you're super, super, super hungry and God, you need to get a meal, but there's nothing you can eat right now, and you just have to hang on. And you think, oh my God, my stomach is going to be like I'm going to get so thin, right? My stomach is going to eat itself, right? Because there's nothing in my body. I'm so hungry. It's the same thing when you're beginning a new craft and or job, right? And you don't know all of the ins and outs. You don't know what all the choices are, and you just instinctively go down the road as far as you can go with the sort of limited information and probably supplies that you've got. And it sometimes can be the perfect storm to making like the most perfect piece of your life. It can be that way. And I've always loved this piece of Ryan's. Oh, Goretti, it's great to see you. Happy Friday night. Welcome back. Oh, it's Mike's birthday today. Mike, happy birthday. It is great to see you. Happy birthday. Love to see you. I'm going to bring your things one more time to exhibit, if that's okay. But it's still the strike in Canada anyway, isn't it? I was going to bring them to the Halloween display, um, if that's okay. Mandy didn't tell me the strike was off in Canada, so I'm guessing it's still on. But as soon as that's over, I'll send them both back. I love them both so much. Great to see you both. Happy birthday, Mike. Friday night for a birthday. That's pretty good, isn't it? So, Ryan, thank you so much for sending that. It wouldn't be October if we didn't get to see that, buddy. Now, this piece got me excited too. This is kind of, you can tell the photo is kind of taken lamplight here. Um, so, this is from, hang on. Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute. Well, all the information is right here. Why didn't I also put it? Okay, hang on. Hang on. I wonder if I also have this in my. Yes. Oh my gosh, I scared myself. Jane Bancroft. Sorry, I have it built into the text on the slide. Jane Bancroft posted this in our Facebook page. And of course, this is Scrappy Cat, which is one of the oldest ribbon candy hooking patterns. I made this in a video with a cookie cutter, a big copper cookie cutter. You know how the copper ones are really, really big, and traced around it and made this. And this is one of the first designs. This is like one of the first 5 designs ever from ribbon candy hooking. So Jane started this on, oh my gosh, look at the dates on this, on October 7th and finished it on October 8th. What a lot of fun. And Jane said that the whole time she was working on it, she was having fun. And what more can you want, right? So this came as, okay, thanks, Dave, still on strike. That's what I thought. Dang it. Um, yeah, that's frustrating. But hopefully, I haven't been following that news at all. I hope things are getting resolved up there. That's very disruptive, isn't it? Yikes. So this kit, this is a ribbon candy hooking kit. It comes with darks and lights and lots of bright colors. So I put in a lot of darks and dark grays and dark navies and dark purples and things like that. There's more darks in there than you think, and then lots of bright colors. And you can blast it however you want because, like with most of my kits, particularly the hit or miss ones, there's way more material than it's possible to use. So you can either make the thing bigger, like make the thing bigger in the border, or just complete it. And this came out so great, Jane, if you're watching, this came out so great. It's a beautiful piece, very simple silhouette. And again, this was just done with a cookie cutter. Why not? Right? Going into cookie season as well. If you've got some beautiful cutters and you're thinking, I want to make some stuff like ornaments, or I want to make things to hang on the doorknobs, right? Just decorative stuff. Think about your cookie cutters. What a great resource. You know what cookie cutters are? They're just stencils, right? They're just different stencils. Now, this was an interesting find too. So this is Jamie Jones. And Jamie said, I told myself I wouldn't start another one until I finished binding the others. Does that sound familiar? But here I am with my little monster and a half bound one with 3 more to go. Well, you know what? At the same time, as we well know, and we enable each other quite a bit on this show, right? As we should. Um, Sometimes you just don't feel like it. And why should you do it when you don't feel it? Unless you've got a show coming up or there's some kind of hard deadline, why should you do something when you don't feel like it? Isn't life made up of things that you didn't want to do but you had to do because you're a grown up and you had to put your big girl or big boy pants on? I mean, that really is life. When we're doing our fun stuff, that should not be part of the equation at all. If you don't feel like finishing it, leave it. When it's the right time, you will know. And you know what? Obviously, Jamie is into Halloween because this is a cute little monster she's got started. You know what? I'm gonna do the same thing again and move this over here because I have 2 images. And then let me bring out the other little monster for us to look at the same time. And here's little monsters done. So I'm going to put them side by side. So you can see Jamie was working in a hoop, did an original design for this this cute little monster, absolutely adorable. And then where to go with it, right? Ooh, interesting. So it's kind of purpley monster, dark insides to the ears. It's kind of like a dark night scene, a bit of a, not psychedelic, but maybe like a hypnotic background, right? Like that swirl. Ooh, it reminded me. I said a little bit like a labyrinth, but also just like a swirl, like a mysterious swirl, like it's a crazy movie or an episode of the Twilight Zone. But you see, little monster. His little teeth are done so well. His empty eyes. He's a cheerful monster, just like Linda's skeleton. You can have things that are scary motifs, but that are not done in a scary way, that are done in a cute way or a charming way. That's a lot of fun. I love to straddle that line, and holding kind of a staff with a pumpkin at the end, a bat flying in. Diane says it has a Nightmare Before Christmas feel. Definitely does. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Why am I yawning? I should not be tired. It was a very long day, but nonetheless, it does have that kind of a feel, like the little face, right? But it's such a stout little character. So cute. Judy says, great background. It is a great background. It's a busy background. The swirl is pretty solid, though. And so that's working as the background. And the monster is very dark, but you get the impression that it is a dark night, right? You have to work for it a little bit with some of the contrast in the colors, but it is a dark night, right? So it's an interactive piece in that way. It sucks you right in with that sort of black hole, right? And there's the little monster waiting for you there with his staff. Such a sweet holiday piece, such a fun piece. Speaking of fun holiday pieces, I felt so bad because for the last episode of cocktail night, gallery night, sorry, both. Tara sent some beautiful images that I think I showed you on my phone, but I didn't put them into the slideshow just because I'm stupid or I was late or something happened and I didn't. And then I felt awful because I do love seeing things that people are about to work on. And then I like to see how they come out, but I like to see all the stages of them. And I love to see it when Tara sends stuff like this, just grabbing a piece of burlap, drawing the designs on. She said, you know what? These are my designs for this holiday, for this Halloween holiday. Let's go. And she drew them with a lot of confidence, right? And again, this is the old school. This is the part, some of us have this built in, others don't, right? This is the part of our heritage. What is it? Oh no, let me see. What is it? Is it gonna die?
No, it's
Oh honey. Is there a hole in that?
yeah, there was a
Okay, is he alive?
yeah.
Honey, look who it is. Look who it is. Wait a minute, let me come back to you. Oh, honey, we're saving him. Little mouse. He's okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay. She didn't wound him, right?
No.
Okay. He a happy baby. He can go outside now, right? That is the cutest little thing. Make sure you put him somewhere really safe.
Yeah.
So she can't get him again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then keep her inside so she doesn't get him again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
what a little
keep it
cutie.
aside. You coming with us?
I love mice and rats and things like that. Even when it's not Halloween, they are such a cute little thing. Oh my God. We went to Petco the other day and we didn't get them, but we saw a couple of those teddy bear hamsters. God, those things make me crazy. They are so cute. They are the smallest puffs. They are little puffs. They were fighting for the same wheel at the same time and falling on top of each other. And all that extra fluffy fur. Oh my God. I said to the kids, don't you want these things? They were both like, nah. And I'm like, let's try this again. Do you want these two adorable teddy bear hamsters? And they were like, nah, we're happy with the dog and the cat. And I'm thinking, I want the hamsters. Can we get the hamsters? But you know what? If they don't want it and they're not going to help me take care of a couple more hamsters, then we just won't because it make me nervous anyway. Although I would never get one of those plastic cages again because they do not hold. Has to be a proper like glass thing with like a metal top and everything has to be really secure. Because I've lost hamsters with those stupid brittle plastic cages that just bust open. Anyway, no hamsters for us. So, okay, so let's see. Makes the pumpkin glow. Oh, Diane on the one that Jamie did, right, with the little monster. So I wanted to bring out Tara's pieces this time, but in the meantime, because I was ding dong and didn't bring them out for last month's show, guess what? She finished. She finished this one at least. So we get to see. Now come on back here just for a second. And there she is over on the right. I love the drawing, right? Just right onto the backing. That's my favorite, right? Having that sort of innate streak of wildness in you, that in confidence, it's like, give me the Sharpie. I'm drawing it and let's do this. I love that. And here she is finished. And I love her colors and her green hair and her beautiful sort of goddess-esque face, the little witch, and the jolly pumpkin with the highlights in them, the bats in the background with their eyes glowing. Everything about this just screams Halloween, right? It is just so charming. Just brings me back to being a little girl again and thinking about my costume and waiting for the night and obsessing about the way that I was going to walk and whether I was going to bring the pillowcase so that I had enough room to get all the candy. I mean, it just brings me right back. Tara's pieces are just so charming. This is another piece. I don't think this is finished yet, and she writes on it 9 by 12. So Tara's another person who works on burlap or finds what she has that will work, and is not super persnickety with agonizing about the backing materials. Just makes it work. Right, and that is the ultimate thrifty approach to rug hooking. I love this composition as well. a pumpkin that's not like a circle pumpkin, a bit of a different shape of a pumpkin, but with the light shining out and the ghost peeking in from one side. The spider has a lot of personality. That little face, right? Looks like a weird smile on his little face. And I love the upside down nose, the heart eyes, and the mouth that's like a ribbon. There's always a zigzag kind of a mouth on these things. But this one is more like a ribbon. It's a bit more, it feels like almost like a corkscrew. It's got a great shape to it. And I can't wait to see it done. I don't think it is. Nope. So this one is done. So this is, it's hard to see dark on dark, but it's like a coffin shape with a little skull in there saying boo. And again, a lot of personality in this one little face, right? Very comic face, smiling, lots of personality. Oh, it's a cutout because you can see the string on top. It's a cutout in the shape of a little coffin. So that would be a great Halloween thing to put on a door or on a wall or in a small spot, right? A shaped thing because the perimeter is shaped that you could finish up, and hang somewhere. Really nice. I just love the character. And we're getting to the point of knowing each other at this point in time where if you send in skeletons and witches and things like that, without even looking, I'm gonna know that it's you. We're getting to know each other pretty well as the years go by, right? And Tara also posted this, which I thought was really helpful, and wrote in our Facebook group. I saw this. I thought this was worth sharing here too. I saw a post on Pinterest where they made a ghost using wire and macrame rope. Sorry, I didn't have the rope, but I did have lots of white yarn and some medium gauge wire, so off I went. It took about an hour from beginning to end. I thought it might inspire others to make their own ghost. And I think this is a great thing to look at, right? Because this is a great project for you to do, for your door, for outside, for whatever. And this is yarn, right? And it doesn't have to be white yarn, does it? Very few tools needed here. There's the scissors, there's the pliers, or they look like the wire cutters that are also pliers. Very simple tool. Oftentimes, if it's a low gauge wire, you can cut that with the scissors too, and then you don't need that second tool. Sometimes if you have a coat hanger, if you still have coat hangers, you just cut a piece of that wire. And I often cut wires with my kitchen scissors, I have to say. And then you're just you're tying string or yarn on in sections, right? Tying it right onto the wire. And you're making the arms do something like boo and rising up, right? But you shape the arms however you want. They could be lower, they can be high, they can be whatever. And then finishing touch, putting some eyes on, right? Whether they're googly, and you see the knots on the wire where it's attached. There can be different heights. So this one has different heights, like the sleeves of the sheet are longer than under the armpits kind of thing. So it has a height variation. Very, very sweet. Fun thing for the door. Easy thing to do, particularly if you have like leftover scrappies and stuff, right? You've got yarn that you don't need. Which reminds me, such a nice thing. The other night we had Vespers at our church, which is the one evening service we do a month, and it's always the first Thursday. And the theme was Yom Kippur because it was Yom Kippur. And it was so nice because we did this exercise where the idea was, I didn't know a lot about Yom Kippur until this Vespers. And we were talking about the idea of what the minister was, and I was just watching the idea of letting go, sort of making peace for the things that year that you weren't happy with yourself for, like things that you had done, things that hadn't gone well, things that you were upset with yourself about. And the idea of coming to peace with those things, saying you're sorry for those things, but also letting go of those things. So right before the service started, the minister was like rushing around like, I need string, I need a twine, who's got twine, who's got twine? And there was no twine, but of course, because of my craft room there that we use every Friday, and next week it's Wednesday, just so you know, because I have another doctor's appointment on Friday. But I have all this yarn in these crates. So if people come and they want a rug hook, I have like Tupperware containers filled with yarn. There's 2 bookcases filled with yarn, and it's there for people to take. So luckily we had some yarn. And we did this nice exercise where if we wanted to, 2 people were holding the edges of the yarn, and they were making it longer as people came, and they would hold it up for you and hand you a pair of scissors, and then you could just kind of stop for a minute with the scissors and think, where on this stretch do I want to cut, right? Because you want to, the cut is symbolic, like I'm okay with the things that I didn't do right, the mistakes that I made, the bad things that I did. I'm going to try to be okay with it. So I need to let go of them. And then you make that cut wherever it feels right. And weirdly, when I cut it, it did feel like something. Like it felt like something magic happened. Anyway, the point is, it's nice to have yarn around for 100 different reasons. Sometimes you don't know when you're about to really need it. Who knew that night that we're going to need yarn? Thank God we had it, right? Thank God that our little rug hooking group is stationed there every week because we always have supplies to share. So Tara also had a great day today because she wrote at the end of the day, she wrote that her her hubby just came home and he was out thrifting and shopping and he found these cute little pieces. She said she didn't know how much they cost, but she said, but Jim came home with these two cuties from our local Bark and Bin, that's the Humane Society, maker unknown, but thought they deserved recognition. And they do deserve recognition. They are super fun pieces. Both primitive wide cuts, really charming, great matching pieces. Tara loves Halloween. So Jim probably was psyched to find these pieces and to say, oh, I can't wait to bring them home and for her to see them. And now we're seeing them too. They are so, so sweet. Things that happened in Canada today, right? Jim found these pieces and brought them home, and they were a great hit. They are super fun, charming pieces. I'm going to show you a couple of the things I'm working on. There was a time at the day when I felt like I didn't have that much more content, so it was making me nervous. So I put some of my own stuff into the show, um, just as a reminder about what I'm doing here. Now, because I'm a brand, I do stuff that I sell too, but I'm not doing like an infomercial. I hate feeling like I'm doing an infomercial, but I have been doing a lot of these painted canvases, and this is called the Halloween Hooker. So this is one of the canvases I've had. I did a few canvases onto needlepoint backing this week and brought them to the needlepoint store because Judy asked me for some. So there haven't been a lot of sales lately, and I fully understand why. It's a really tough time in the world with not knowing what's going on with your income, with your how much you're going to owe for medicine and health stuff, with your pension, with your Social Security, with all of that. I get it. But it does make it hard to kind of scrape along as ribbon candy hooking right now. It is what it is. I'm in it too. I'm in the soup too. But so I brought a couple of needlepoint ones over there. But these are some of the designs. These are rug hooking canvases that you're looking at. This one is called The Eye of the Beholder. The squirrel is really enamored of the mushroom. Lots of lamb's tails here, including the suggestion of the little mound being a lamb's tail as well. I needed a squirrel composition this year, but I've been really loving painting these. It's been a lot of fun painting directly, and this is door mill linen, 100% linen. This is a premium. It's the regular door linen, but it's bleached, and I find it easier to hook on because it's white, and there's a higher contrast, white to black, right, with the lines, as opposed to brown to black. So I've always liked the white. And lately I've been doing a lot of painting on the white too. That was called October Sniff. And these are the yarn bats that I showed you at the beginning of the show that I'm filling out with between 70 and 80 yards. It'll be the same for each one, yards of fancy fibers. So that's what I've been working on today. And then there was a bit, this is the owl. This one's called Beware Little Mouse. And funny because the little mouse was just inside the house, right? And we just rescued him, and he's outside already, and the cat is inside, so he has every chance of making it. He's just got to look out for these characters. By the way, I saw a bald eagle in the yard earlier. Huge, which is scary because I do keep an eye on our dog and our cat. This bird was enormous. It was trying to swoop down for a squirrel that had already been hit. I did not hit it. But it was quite a sight. And I know these guys are out there too. So this is Beware Little Mouse. So those are some of the things I've been working on, and then I got a bunch more emails, and I started feeling better about the night. I wasn't like, oh, I don't have any content. This piece is by Sandra Leslie, and this is punch needle. This is mini punch, right? This is not the fine needle or the worsted needle. This is actually mini punch, right? Which is sometimes called Russian punch. And so this is a primitive Halloween punch needle called Kitty with Her Pumpkin. The punch needle has, and again, this is Sandra Leslie. The punch needle has been adhered to a vintage splint door basket. Oh, I didn't realize that this was called a splint door basket. And the pattern is by Doreen Frost. Absolutely adorable. And, it just made me think, I didn't know this was called a splint basket, but I do have a lot of baskets. And I do love to find baskets. And sometimes I don't feel, this would be great on like a doorknob, right? Or at the bottom of the stairs over the banister kind of thing. Um, Sometimes I see baskets and I think, oh man, that basket is just speaking to me, but I can't really justify another basket. Well, I think now I can, because here's another sort of surface or canvas for um, putting a smaller piece, whether this is a large mini punch piece, but also a small rug hooking piece. And not necessarily this basket, but any basket, when you think about it, what a nice gift too, heading into the holiday season, right? Having a basket and mounting like a finished piece to it, and then maybe, I don't know, putting anything in there, putting nothing in there, putting like a jam jar, like the homemade jam in there, or booties, crocheted, whatever. There's so many things that you could do. Bottle of wine, right? Anything, doesn't matter, or just nothing. This is the gift. But I thought, how sweet is that? What a fun idea! What a fun gift idea! And on this was on Facebook, on this thread, Jane Bancroft, and we just looked at her piece a little while ago, her Scrappy Cat. Jane wrote, great idea and so cute. How did you adhere it? And then Leslie wrote back, she wrote, thank you. And then she said, I used Aleene's tacky glue. So I thought, okay, that's worth mentioning, because you're probably thinking the same thing. Well, how is it stuck on there? Is it sewn on there? You could do it with a needle and thread, but I think using Aleene's, that's like archival quality glue. Totally safe using that. And it's going to stay there. So fun. So Kaz, you just asked the same question. I wonder how she attached it. Just with Aleene's tacky glue. Now, if it was a much heavier piece in a much bigger basket, you might want to rethink that. But with it being a smaller piece, a light piece, and a smaller basket, this is going to stay on there, no problem. Super fun. So here, Sandy says, this is Sandy Costello. Hey, Sandy. I'm auditioning fabric. Pretty sure this is Marcia Durst. Diana's pattern. I think that might have been a typo. I'm not sure, unless I don't understand the reference. But this is my pattern. I think this is one of the sugar skulls, but it's been shaped, and Sandy's appliquing it onto a piece of quilt fabric. This one I think is this might be Year of Wine and Roses. Okay, wait a minute. I hear a weird noise. I'm looking around. There was a cricket in here the other night. I love crickets. This is the biggest cricket I've ever seen. And I just feel like he's on me, like all the time. Like he's on me. He's in my clothes. He somehow got down my shirt, my pants. Have not seen him again. I will keep you posted. Ryan, great to see you. Happy Friday night. It's great to see you. Ryan, I haven't seen what you've been working on lately. I'm going to have to dig in and check the page. I'm going to search the page for your name. I bet you're working on something epic. Hold on one second while I take a quick sip. So thirsty. So Sandy says she's auditioning fabric. Okay, so she hasn't attached it yet. She's deciding what to applique to. And she says, should I applique the skull on the fabric, and have Rob make a frame, or use it as a backing with batting and have Rob paint a dowel, oh I see, and put it on like a old wool spindle from a mill in Maine that she has, right, that she already has a little spindle, a little bobbin. I love Deanna's Halloween pattern. Sandy, thank you so much. First time using velvet and Angelina. Angelina is the sparkly stuff, right? Looks like the velvet is it in the cheeks, the velvet? I think there's the darker is maybe the velvet. Looks very lush. Fun. Moving on to the next one later today. Oh, how fun. And then she tagged the brand, which is so, so sweet. Sandy, thank you so much. I got to spend some time with Sandy over the summer, which was a real gift. She came to the Friday thing at the church, which was just so laid back. So laid back. Ryan says, still working on the same one. Was a bit ill. Oh, no. Okay, well, as long as you're better now. Kangas, Sandy, are you from Pennsylvania? Are you my cousin? Gosh, I don't know if Sandy's on tonight. I'm trying to think of where Sandy is from. I know she's from quite far, but she was traveling here when she came to visit me in Connecticut. Not impossible. I'm not sure if she's on. It might be that she's on and she does answer us. So I don't know. If she's not on, she'll probably watch later. But I don't know. What do you think? These questions are always so hard for me too when I'm deciding between, for example, do I want to make this into a three-dimensional thing on a dowel? Because I have a couple like that I did the first time I made these. Um, I don't know. Wouldn't that be fun? It would be fun. It would be fun to find a family member here. But maybe if it's a crafting family, it's not surprising, right? You have stuff in common. That sort of groundwork is already laid out. Um, it's funny. That's funny. She might be there. She might log on later and add a comment too. But you know, this is a hard question because I've seen them. She's already finished the edges, so that's done. So it's a question of does she want to use that blue, that kind of batik as a backing, make it three-dimensional, stuff it and put it on a dowel, like a little dowel, like a little bobbin, like an old mill thing. And I did do that for some of the early ones. Or does she want to mount it on this material and make it a flat piece, like because you can then pop it into a frame or make it into a pillow. I gotta say, it really depends on what you feel like doing. My advice with these sugar skulls, because I always put a giant border on them, if you are thinking that you might stuff it, I think I would always hook it a little bit bigger. You on my patterns, you always are going to have 4 inches always on every side. So if you are going to make something stuffed, I would always advise that you hook it a little bit bigger because when you stuff it, it's going to kind of um, slide backward and you're going to kind of lose the features on the very edges, right? And that's a real thought. So for that reason alone, if it were me, I think I would be tempted. I love the match with this material. I love the sort of um, I love the blue that comes down kind of as lines, as ridges from the stump. And I love the way those straight kind of blue lines kind of mimic the lines on the fabric in the background, right? Like the fabric she would mount on, kind of like the way that that works. That's sort of funny to me. I would really, if it were me, I think I would sew this onto the blue backing, wrap it, find a picture frame that I love that fits it, whether I had to cut it a little bit smaller or whatever, and wrap it around there, probably glue the edges of it behind to the piece of cardboard that already comes with the frame, no glass, pop it in the frame and hang it up on the wall. I think that's what I would do, only because I'd be worried if it's three-dimensional at all, that the eyes are going to kind of shift backwards and the cheeks and the mouth could disappear, like the bottom lip could disappear. I think if you want to do things that are stuffed, try to make them just a little bit oversized. Just keep going with your colors, like keep the blue for the cheeks and the orange so that when you lose that little sort of perimeter of it because it becomes round or stuffed, then the features on the face will still remain the same. Do you know what I mean? I'm tired, so my words aren't coming out well, but I think you know what I mean. Because it would be really cute stuffed too. And you could do it. It could be stuffed, but not super stuffed. And then you wouldn't have to really worry about losing features. It would work either way. Without a doubt, it would work either way. And Barbara says, fabric is gorgeous with the hooking. The more you see, the better. I agree. I like the fabric a lot with it. It's a really good match. It's very color wise. It's a really vibrant match, and it's weirdly perfect. That hardly ever happens, right? Kanka says mounted on a stretched canvas. See, we all have different ideas about what would work. Thank God for that. We're all crazy and we're all different. Woohoo! Right? Diane says, do any of you use 1/2 inch foam core to mount rugs and make the piece look like an unframed canvas? Canvas foam core is acid free and so light, no extra weight. I know that Barbara does that because I've seen her pieces. I love to see. This is such a great tip, and thank you so much for bringing this up. Mounting stuff, wrapping stuff right around foam core, the thick foam core, as opposed to an actual canvas with wood stretchers. It is a great idea because it is lightweight. It's easy to hang. If you're thinking, "Oh, it's not heirloom," it's heirloom as long as it's hanging on the wall, right? It's gonna heirloom itself right up on the wall and stay there forever till you take it down. And if in the future someone wants to mount it differently, they could. But it is lightweight. It's nice. It's easy on the wall, right? It's easy on the nail that it hangs on. It looks exactly the same as if you mounted it on something else, right? Like something with a wood skeleton to it. So definitely worth thinking about. I use foam core all the time. Yep. Super fun. That's a great idea. That's worth mentioning. I never think to bring that up, and that is a great tip. Okay, now hang on. Where do we leave off here? There we go. There we go. Beautiful piece, Sandy. And Kaz, you sent a gorgeous piece. Oh no, wait a minute. I got to make it smaller. Kaz, hold on. Okay, hold on, everybody. I thought I made it much smaller. It stretched back open. Hold on. Well, this will be a bit of a special effect as I do this. Get ready for a ride, and then I'll read what Kaz wrote because this is an exceptional piece. I haven't had this happen before, that it got really big, because I remember stretching this down to fit it to this space. So you're getting a preview as we go. Oh, wait a minute. I just distorted it. I don't want to distort it. Kaz, you tell me if it doesn't look right. I know it's tall and skinny. Nope, we have yet further to go. Let me see. Are we almost there? Almost. I don't want to distort it, though. Hold on. No, not yet. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Sorry, girls and guys. Let me try again, and then I will. I have to see the top and bottom or it drives me nuts. Kaz, does that look right to you? Sure looks right to me. So let me know, though, if you want me to stretch it in any direction. And Diane said that, talking about the foam core, it's an archival grade. So that is going to make a difference. Kaz, no, it's me. It's never you. It's always me. Something happened and it like snapped back to its original size. Looks good. I want the proportions to be right because it is indeed gorgeous. Now, you kind of saw it in reverse because you saw it larger first, right? So Kaz wrote, "Hi, Deanna. I just saw your Facebook post. Oh, don't ever worry about being late. I right until the last minute, I'm always putting stuff in, but this was not last minute at all." So Kaz says, "Here is my tree. I took a Zoom workshop from Laura Wellman." Oh, I just saw another workshop from her. Oh, you know what? I bet it was the same. I bet it was the same because someone was holding up a tree. Had to be the same one, right, Kaz? "I hooked the trunk of the tree with hand-cut wool and punched the sky and leaves with Oxford fine punch needles, sizes 14, 13, 10, and 9. And the background was needle felted, and you used embroidery stitches for the birch tree's trunk." Wow. Okay. So I hate to say it, but I think we're going to have to stretch, knowing that, I think we're going to have to stretch it again. So let's start here at the bottom and let's look at some of these effects. Now, remember, Kaz is a certified Oxford teacher, and we're seeing a lot of cool techniques here. Oh, wow. I love the way the background is needle felted. That looks so eerie and mossy. And I love the high relief, not high relief, but just in contrast to the background, right, that it doesn't have relief. I love the green loops and I love the texture on the trees, the embroidery of the smaller tree trunks. Absolutely bonkers good. That is such a fun sampler. Now, Kaz, tell us. Judy says, "Wow, this has so much depth," and Gail also loves this piece. I think it must be the same class, right? Everybody loves this piece. Goretti loves it. Everybody. What's not to love, right? Let me make it just a little bit bigger because this is super, super fine. So, Kaz, was the idea that you all had the same tree? And did you do all of the same techniques in the same places? Like, for example, and Barbara's saying, is this on monk's cloth? It looks like it's on monk's cloth, huh? For example, did everybody do the embroidery for the little tree trunks? Is that over something? Is that couched like over something three-dimensional, or is that just straight up stitches? Really cool. And then you see punching up here in the tree. You see hooking in the trunk. Some people just hooked. Okay, so you could use different techniques. Wow, that must have been a great class. Look for Laura Wellman's class if you're in Facebook. Look on Facebook and just type in Laura, Laura, just as you would think, Wellman, Wellman. And you'll see some different people posted, and you'll see them popping up with their trees. And I'm going to do that after the show because, yeah, this is, Wendy says, so interesting. It is super interesting. And it does look like it's on monk's cloth. And this is a beloved piece, Kaz. I absolutely I love this as well. You know, we always say, like, you can needle felt into your backing, but you hardly ever see it, and we're seeing it here. Kaz says the felting and embroidery are Laura's idea. Okay. Well, it's a great idea. The amount of variety is really great. I love these kinds of samplers that are unexpected. Like, just the idea that you would go to a class and you'd say, "Okay, so we're going to do a sampler and it's a close up of a tree. It's a crop of a tree." And my first thought would be like, "Well, how the hell are you going to do a sampler if it's just like one tree?" Well, you can. And when you do compositions like this that have lots of different techniques, they become so rich, like this one. Kaz, this is just beautiful. And Kaz, thank you. Kaz says, Laura is having another workshop starting next Tuesday. She said there were some spaces. So there we go. So if you're interested in doing another workshop, right, and I'm guessing it's the same thing, check that out. Laura Wellman. Definitely check that out. That sounds amazing. And you will see some of these online tonight. Kaz, I'm so glad you sent this. It's absolutely such a killer. Such a beautiful piece. And yes, we can confirm it's on monk's cloth, right? Because in monk's cloth, whether you like using it for hooking or not, it is a great crossover fabric for different techniques, right? Much better, in my opinion, than linen. If you're going to do punching and you're going to do hooking and you're going to do lots of different kind of stitching, it's a tighter weave. So I feel like it's a better backing fabric with more possibilities if that's the way you're going with it, right? Absolutely beautiful. Cass says she has a kit, but she couldn't send it to the US, so you used your own stash. Well, you know what? I think it's probably better that you did, just because you were forced to kind of scramble and figure out what would work, and you succeeded. Yours is super unique for it, for having to kind of struggle and figure out what you were going to use, right? I shouldn't say struggle because that puts a negative spin on it. Might be that's your favorite part, right? Is figuring that stuff out. Yes, use monk's cloth because you wanted to punch some parts. Yeah. Interesting. Made it. Oh, Kirsten, great to see you. Kirsten, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller for you. This is Kaz's piece. She just did a workshop. Oops, wait a minute. She just did a workshop with Laura Wellman. Um, and there's another one coming up. Oh, wait a minute. I'll fix the distortion, but check out this piece. It has needle felting. It has punching. It has hooking. I know Kirsten is going to love this. Kirsten is a country girl for sure. I'll just stretch it a little bit like this. So beautiful. I have to say, when you see it like this, I love the play of the branches. The branches have such an angular shape to them, and the background looks almost cubist. The background of the sky, very fragmented, lots of light coming through, and I love the repetition of the three holes. That's really interesting. It is rather unreal. The bark is very realistic, but the shape of the tree is less realistic, and I love that contrast between those two. There's a great storytelling quality to this tree, right? It's like kind of a Wizard of Oz tree that's about to start throwing stuff at you. Um, oh, Jessica's there, and she says hi to Kirsten. That is super fabulous. Oh, good to see you, Kirsten. It is late. I hope things are nice and quiet over there. So, Kaz, absolutely loved that. That was crazy times. Absolutely crazy, crazyville. So beautiful. Now, Barbara, you sent in some gorgeous pieces as well. This is your piece. We're seeing some tremendous examples of mini punch tonight. Just got to say. This is mini punch, and this is based on an antique pattern, but this is a ribbon candy hooking pattern that I've deviated quite a bit from the 19th century pattern, because it was a great opportunity, just the very nature of this composition. And I've called this piece shoelace, what did I call it? Shoelace floral, right? That was it, just shoelace floral. So, it can be done however you want, right? And Barbara did this as mini punch. So on the smaller side, I think it did have the soft corner edges as opposed to like the right angled edges. But this is a piece that's basically a cluster of unlikely imaginary flowers in the center. And then this really crazy scroll border that I thought of. It reminded me more of a shoelace than a proper border. And there is something fun and playful about it. This is taking it to the next level, though. I mean, come on. Look at this piece. All of the darks and lights, right? All of the different values as it gets lighter on the inner field. As it gets closer to the flowers, it gets a little bit lighter. The outlining, the here and there outlining, not heavy outlining. There is shading and contrast in here that is just super advanced. Like, I mean, there's no way I could do this. This is really, really well done. And this is mini punch. So when you think about mini punch and you think, oh, how far can you go with small pieces and such a small tool and tiny little threads to work with? Well, the answer is you can go very, very far with it. You can get nuances, you can get shading. I should say, if you are Barbara, you can get nuances and you can get shading. I still struggle with this because I have not spent enough time with Mini Punch. I tend to do solid fills still, but obviously you can do this with it when you practice and experiment. Judy says, just an FYI, I have felt it into linen quite often. It has worked well for me. If in doubt, you can always iron some lightweight interfacing on the back of the fabric. Now hold on, Judy, I'm coming back here. That's a great idea. And Judy, I absolutely believe it. I absolutely believe it. I worry more with linen, with punching. I know people do that too. I just it just makes me nervous. I've seen also with monk's cloth though. I've seen people pop right through with a punch into both backings, just making a hole. And of course, holes can be fixed. It's not the end of the world. It's just I have these ideas from teaching. I always get nervous when I think people are going to do colossal things like that. But no, you're right. There's a lot to be said for linen as well. There's lots of uses for linen. Somehow, I think it must be Oxford related. We always associate monk's cloth. We always say monk's cloth is the punching fabric, and for me, rug warp is the punching fabric. I personally don't like punching into monk's cloth, and I don't like punching into linen, but they both work. And as Judy says, needle felting into linen also works. And the tip or the hack of putting this would be fusible, one-sided fusible interfacing on the back, right? Adhering it to the back of it. So you're now, Judy, would you adhere it to the back so you're almost punching it out when you needle punch, or do you put it in front of it and punch through it? Just wondering. I'm trying to picture it. But the idea of adding a little bit of weight and adding something that is not a woven, because of course interfacing is not a woven, right? It's just like fused together. It has a lot of stability. So while you're needle felting, all those little tiny holes, right? Stabby craft. With linen, because the holes are a little bit bigger, it's a little bit of a looser backing fabric than monk's cloth or rug warp. It is a great idea to add a layer of fusible interfacing, because you could just iron it on, right, and it would stick on, and then you would have that sort of surface, more resistance to your needle felting rather than just big open Grand Canyon gaps, right? Interesting. I like that. Oh, I think that is German, not Dutch. Let's see. Untertitle. Oh, yeah. I have never figured out how to put on, and I cannot say this in German for sure. I've never figured out how to put on, what do you call it when the words are on the bottom of the screen? Subtitles, right? I've never figured out how to do subtitles. I will try, ik probeer. I don't know if you speak any Dutch. Ik probeer. I will try to put the subtitles on the bottom. Let me see how it goes. Thank you. That's a great idea. That would be fun to have them in different languages at the bottom, wouldn't it? At least for key parts of it. That might be something that can only happen after the live video and the production of it. But great idea. Goed idee, just in case you speak Dutch. Dutch and German are so different. Isn't that weird that they would be? But they are so different. Okay, let me catch up here. Dave says, love it. Okay, love it. Judy, thank you. And Judy, let me see if you answered that. You're probably answering that question about whether you would fuse the interfacing to the front or to the back. Oh, thank you. Great to see you. And it is very late over there, I think. Very, very late. It's got to be 6 hours later over there. Night owl times, right? Now, Dave says, oh, I love the scroll border. Also love the scroll border. Wendy loves shoelace floral. I do too. And, I would have never thought of this piece as a mini punch piece, but man, it works great. And I would have never thought to do this much shading. And it's quite extreme shading, right? It's not even like ombre. It's like from one color to another color in both the shoelace and the background field. And then look at the amount of color in the flowers. It is super, super, super well done. Barbara, this is an absolute masterpiece. Like I cannot overstate it. Mini punch I find hard. because it is hard to do the tricks. It's hard to do the effects with mini punch because of the smaller scale. But seeing stuff like this makes me think, well, it's got to just be me because this is possible, right? Barbara did this, so it has to be possible. As far as the interfacing goes, Judy says, I haven't actually tried it, but I would assume the back. If you have a good thick wool mat. No, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I guess there's no reason to think you would poke it off by stabbing. I think if it's separated from the fabric. Yeah, no, it should be on there good if it's got the fusible glue attaching it. I would love to. I think that's a great tip, and it will work without a doubt. It will work because you're providing. It's basically the carrier. Like it's when you have a really thin gauged yarn and you're putting it through a punch needle, or even your rug hooking, it's too fine. You want it to be bulkier. You put your fiber with a carrier, and it just bulks it up, gives it more integrity. Basically, the interfacing is the ultimate carrier, right? Whether you're putting it in the collar of your shirt or the placket of your dress or whatever, your cuffs, whatever, it just gives stability, and it absolutely would give stability, even if you were doing a craft rather than making a garment, right? It would work exactly the same way. That's a great idea. That's a great tip. And Judy, that's a great tip in general because I'm just thinking when people do use the wrong backing fabric, which is not necessarily a beginner thing, it's something that could happen at any point. No matter how long you've been hooking or punching, it might be that you chose the wrong combo. The yarn is too thin, the backing fabric is too loose. The punch needle is too large, right? It's irregular for bulky. The yarn is too thin. Sometimes we mismatch our supplies, and then we've really got a problem. It's not the kind of problem that you can fix by adding more loops, right? It's a technical problem, and it's gonna cause some trouble, right? So since that is always the case, I do wonder whether in several other situations I can think of, you might want to use interfacing just to add stability and tighten up. If you have chosen a backing fabric for hooking well, for hooking it wouldn't work because it'd be too hard to go through it. But any kind of punching, whether it's mini punch, needle felting, or traditional punch, I bet you could use interfacing and it would just stabilize the back quite a bit. You just punch right through it. That's a great idea. Judy, that's a great idea. I love that. Okay, let's keep going because Barbara sent us another gorgeous piece. Barbara, you work like so fast. Thank God for that. Now, hang on. Here we are. And sorry, we're a little bit over, but we're going to go not too far over tonight. We've got a few more. Barbara, another beauty. So this is part of the series that I was showing you. There's a branch of ribbon candy hooking that's called Ribbon Candy Paint Box, and it is when I paint the backing. It's still 100% door linen. It's always linen. It's always rug hooking linen for me, but it's painted, and it's painted so that you have a chance to decide whether you want to hook or punch the whole background or just part of it and have some of the backing exposed. And it'll be different for each person each time. So there are a lot of painted canvases on Ribbon Candy Hooking. Of course, the Halloween ones right now through the month of October, I think they're $75 for an 11 by 14, right? But they are completely hand painted and they come with a yarn bat. So a lot of fun things to plug in, and that is through the month of October until Halloween, October 31st. Barbara, this is such a great job, and you did more to it since the last time I saw it. And I love the touches that you've done. You've done stitching on the actual barn quilt, right? This is different than the version of this in Magpie Times that is just coming out, that just came out like a couple weeks ago. Barbara's done even more on this. I love the barn quilt. I love the fancy stitching in the barn quilt. I really love the grass. I think the grass is my favorite part. I just love all those flowers coming up, kind of highlights that there's some different greens in the grass. And I love the softness, right? The real tactile quality to that dress or slip that's blown off the line and is laying on the ground. There's just something so sweet and soft about its little form laying there like that. I love the colors that you chose. It's such an engaging piece. It really has your eye working for. I see a little button, I see the little buckle, I see little touches. it brings you to this place of play where it's like you're almost decorating a little dollhouse or a little world, right? One little view, and you're thinking, well, what do I want to do there? Do I want to cover that up completely? Because a lot of people hook them and will cover the whole backing up and say, I needed that color plan. Thanks for giving me a color plan. I'm not good at that. And painted backgrounds are good for that reason. But other people will say, you know what? I've been wanting to do stuff, sampler type stuff. I'm only going to, like Barbara, I'm only going to fill in part of it. I want to play with it. I want to play with stitches and different techniques. Even the clothesline appears flat over the painted clothesline, right? Such a lot of fun, such a lot of play here. I love the stitching on the barn as well, like the different colors of brown. Really, really pretty. It is, Gail, super great fun. And Sharon says another gorgeous piece, some wonderful techniques, just so much fun to play, right? That's sometimes what's missing from really technical. If you go down the rabbit hole with rug hooking and you get involved in very technical pieces, that you're either a person who says the fun for me is in executing a technical piece perfectly. And to me, if I succeed in doing that and it's perfect to me, it's a success. Other people are more, and there is no right or wrong, right? You land where you land. You are who you are. You have to honor that. But other people are more like, I'm not into the technical stuff. I'd rather play. So this is the other extreme of rug hooking where you're still getting a rug hooking canvas, but it's like, how much do you want to play, right? And what kind of games do you want to play with this piece? Like, because each shape presents different opportunities, right? And different colors and different textures, everything. Judy says, I love the color effects you're getting on the painted linen. Do you mind telling what kind of medium you're using? Feel free not to answer. Well, I'm using I'm using a mix of watercolor and acrylic, which is not to say I'm using gouache necessarily, but I'm using both watercolors and acrylics because there is some transparency. There's only so many mediums that you could use. I would not go to like oil, any oil paint or oil pastels because it will come off on your pieces. So anyone who does painted canvases, including Garrett Bluenose back in the day, have to use water-based paints. You cannot use oil-based paints with this. So, I'm not being particularly cagey, but I have about 100 different kinds of paints that I use. They're all water-based paints. They're all something. There's some watercolors. There's some acrylics. I mix them together. It's for me with these backgrounds. It's all about mixing. For example, this one's sitting right next to me, right? It's all about mixing. It's a green background, but it's lots of different colors of green. It's not just two colors of green. And then on top of the green is like the lime swirls, right? And the same with the bird. It's browns, but there's lighter browns, and then there's some transparent browns. There's some more watery parts so that you can see the polka dot on the birds stand out more. So they all come out different from one to the next. That's one thing I can't control. But if you're good with that, these canvases are great to find because it's a partial color plan for you. And I have a bunch of them in stock right now because the Halloween party is coming up on Friday, October 24th. Make sure that if you're anywhere near that you can get there. I would love to see you there. We're going to have a hell of a lot of fun that day. So, Barbara, these two pieces are absolutely gorgeous. I'm so happy that we're such close friends, and I'm so happy when you work on my pieces because it really opens up my horizons too. This is just so tactile, fun, and playful. I just love it. There's so much to look at here, and I just love it. Jessica, you sent a bunch of wonderful work as well. Oh, and by the way, this piece, I'm sorry, is called Birds in Air. This is one of the quilt series for the Barn Quilt issue of Magpie Times, which is out now. The quilt block, right? That's the square, the barn quilt on the top of the barn. That pattern is called Birds in Air. That is a traditional pattern. And Barbara wrote, the Paintbox series is an invitation to have fun and offers the ability to decide when you call it done. Frame it as received, or cover the entire design, or land somewhere in the middle like I choose to do. I know this won't be my last. I hope not. You always keep me guessing. It's such fun to watch the progress. Suze, welcome. I love that little pumpkin face. Welcome in Kansas. I'm going to come back to you on the camera and say, happy Friday. It's great to see you. I'm so happy you're there. Now, Jessica, I want to do these in order. So I want to be careful about which ones, because I loaded them in order, but I think I have the text in a different order. And I want to read about these. I want to read all about it because, okay, I found this one. You are always working on stuff that just moves me so much. It just hits me right in the heart. Jessica does so much stuff that's very sort of family centric, and I love that. And I feel that because I have kids who are, school age kids too. And yeah, it's quite a time. It's quite a time in life. Now, you're always experimenting with different ideas. Let me just read, I'll do it in your words instead of mine. Jessica wrote, "Hello, Deanna. Right now, I have a slew of unfinished hooking projects and ideas. So here's some that I'm working on." Now, we're going to start with this one, which just blows my mind. This is a covered bridge. This is a Joan Moshimer pattern. So this is a vintage existing pattern. You can see the red stitching around it. You can see the signature at the bottom. This is a Joan Moshimer pattern. And Jessica acquired this a while back. And she said, "I'm planning." Now don't look at the characters yet, right? This is a covered bridge. We see a lot of covered bridges in rug hooking. Historically, we have. We probably always will. You know, some people look at them and go, and I'm a diehard New Englander, but usually I look at a covered bridge and I go, "Oh, Jesus, it's another covered bridge." But in this case, I looked at it, and this is another thing from the night that really made me smile. I was just sitting on my computer smiling because I thought, oh, yeah. So this is a vintage Joan Moshimer covered bridge pattern that you acquired a while back, and you're planning to add your kids, remembering a time that we visited a local covered bridge dressed in our Halloween costumes. I mean, come on. Come on. This is so brilliant. So you're going to add the figures of your kids with their Halloween costumes on from a few years back. And what a perfect thing to do. I mean, this becomes it will be a modified existing pattern. So it's a commercial pattern that is about to become personalized in the best possible way. I mean, adding part of your family story. It reminds me of, this coming week, I'm going to be doing a class with my friend Sherry where we bring our own we bring our own paintings and we turn them into Halloween paintings. So you overpaint them. And I got to say, I think the beginning of this started years ago. The first time I noticed this sort of multimedia collage that crossed over, at the time, it was like quilting and collage art, right? This was years ago. This was the late 90s. It was when the store Anthropologie just opened. And I think I was living in London, and there was an Anthropologie on Oxford Street. I don't know if it's still there. And I went into it, and I think I was probably a student, or I was working in the theater, but either way, I had no money at all. So it wasn't like I was shopping. I guess I was like, um, what is it? What do they call it when you're not loitering? I guess I was loitering. But, I was also looking for inspiration. And I went in there, and up on the wall, they had all of these paintings that were actual paintings, like old paintings that obviously had been ripped. You see so many ripped, dented paintings, right, in any country. And they had a whole bunch of different subjects, like a seascape, like with boats. Um, and in the sails of the boats, somebody had stitched through the canvas and done like quilt fabric, like Kaffe Fassett quilt fabric onto the boats. In these, like, it's same thing with the landscape. There were all different subjects of paintings, portraits, but somebody was stitching on fabric and bling and jewels, stitching it right through the canvas because, of course, canvas is also a fabric. And I was thinking whether or not these original paintings were damaged, they how good they were was questionable. So you don't feel super guilty about it. But I was thinking if they were damaged, what a beautiful way to honor them, to keep them going, to keep them up on the wall, and just add this beautiful bright fabric. And it was apples to apples, right? The sail of a boat is still the sail of a boat, but it's stitched material now, right? It's not painted now. So it wasn't like they were exactly the same thing. It wasn't like they were adding stuff. It was like they were doing substitutions. And I thought, whoa, whoosh, mind blown. It was the first time I saw anyone doing that kind of. I'd seen collage obviously in multimedia, but it was the first time I'd seen that kind of found object being altered with textile. And I thought, wow, this is unbelievable. And this reminds me of that a little bit, right? It's still we see this sort of thing all the time now, and it's very enabling in the best possible way, because it does make you think of the stuff that you've hoarded and all of your treasures and how it might fit into something that's already existing. So Jessica's just bringing forward this idea within a different framework, and showing us an example of, well, bet you have a lot of vintage patterns, maybe some that you have great, strong, passionate feelings about, and others that are a bit more meh, right? We all have that. We all have those. Whether you feel strongly about a covered bridge or not, Jessica thought of a way that the covered bridge could become part of her personal storytelling, right? Her personal mythology, and brought in an actual remembered time, a memory of the kids on a covered bridge with their costumes on. And that's how it's going to shape up. That's how it's going to hook. And it's going to be such a special piece because of this modification. What a great idea. Jessica, as usual, I absolutely love this piece. I can't wait to see you evolve this. This is so beautiful. It is just what the covered bridge needs, right? I mean, I just love this. And it does make me think for the first time, with me taking this painting class that's coming up, it does make me think, here, let me show you this while we're here. We're late anyway, right? I got this one for myself. I think I showed you this one a while ago. This painting to do in the Halloween class, right? And this was just at the local store. It was $20. It was obviously a panel from something else and taken down, right? It might have been straight, I don't know, off something, pried off of something. But you can see this is really ready to go for a Halloween thing. And the one I got my mom, because I saw this in another Halloween store when I was out, not a Halloween store, antique store when I was out with Sherry. I might have showed you this too. But it's just, this is not really painted. So we're going to have to mix with Mod Podge. This is printed, but it's textured, as you can see. So it really looks like a painting. But Erie, just 3 trees. So my mom can do, this is much larger, but my mom can do anything with this, right? So I think about that, because this is a known thing, right? Altering paintings. But what Jessica's doing is altering a rug hooking design. And it is doing mind blown again, because I'm thinking, ooh, I have some commercial patterns too that I'm not passionate enough about them to really, I don't want to get rid of them because I feel they're historic and special and whatever, but I'm not passionate enough to actually hook them, But I'm starting to think like, ooh, like even with my Halloween thing, what if I have a covered bridge? Could I do a Halloween scene on the covered bridge? And could I modify a rug hook pattern the same way that I'll be modifying these paintings, right, when we take our class next week, or the same way that Jessica modified this particular pattern by making it sort of customized to fit the family. Interesting, right? Mom, I gave you a sneak preview of your piece. I hope you like that painting. It really, you can do it. And you can switch with me if you don't like your painting, because I'm happy with either one of them. Jessica, this is amazing. You have to keep me updated on this. I can't wait to look at this. Hopefully in the next gallery night, right? Now let me see if I can figure out which one this is. Okay, I've started hooking a large circular rug on monk's cloth. I think this is the one that looks like monk's cloth, right? I bought this unnamed pattern while Deanna was downsizing her collection. Okay, I remember. I think this is it. Her collection of patterns that she accrued over the years. I'm punching the background in lots of different colored yarn. I think it has to be this one, right? Boy, this must be fairly big, right? Absolutely beautiful. I hope I'm on the right one. I think I'm on the right one. So beautiful. And I was so excited that you got some of these older patterns, because I knew that you had vision. I was at a dead end with some of these patterns, and I just feel like I had too much, and I still feel like I have too much. But I knew with Jessica, she picked up a few of them. Oh, you know what? Wait a minute. I got to show the ultimate treasure. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. Jessica gave me this. Jessica and Evie gave me this when I was at Sauter Village. One of the patterns that Jessica bought was one of my own patterns that I never finished because I'm an idiot, right? That's just the way I am. I don't think I showed you this yet. It is the pincushion doll with the Prati dress, right? This is all dyed with silk neckties. This is like sari ribbon, and these are candy wrappers. Do you remember this piece? This was like a series. This is yarn, right? This is like variegated yarn. And I only did part of it. I only did the center, some of her. I didn't even finish her. I didn't do her face. I don't think I did her hair. I didn't do the hard parts. I hooked the candy wrappers, right? These are like little Italian candy wrappers. That was hard. I hooked in the Prati leaves. That was fast. And I did a little bit of the sari ribbon, and I didn't do much else. And then I hit a wall. And so Jessica bought this one, and then she finished it and gave it to me as a gift, for which I will be forever in love. And I am now passionate about this piece again. I don't know if you can tell at night, but there's pretty eyelash finishing on the top of it there, and just all kinds of cool trims and cool fibers in here. And Jessica said when she gave this to me at Solder, she said I was so worried that I wouldn't be able to, find the right colors and make it work. It works so perfectly. It works so perfectly. She was like a circular design. It's like she's framed almost like in a crystal ball now. There's all the shininess happening. It is absolutely gorgeous. It is really fun to buy patterns and projects that are other people's, that they've started, right? And I do this sometimes at antique stores with stuff like this. And I end up not doing them because time is a huge problem for me right now, particularly with the kids at the age that they are. But Jessica, please tell Evie I love this so much. This is one of the great treasures of my life. It really is, of my life. I would have never finished this piece, and now I have it as this beautiful pillow. So I'm going to put a little chair into my studio space here, and it's in the studio with me, still in its bag, because it's going to go there. And until it goes there, I don't want it to go anywhere else, because I don't want it to go anywhere where it might be compromised. But thank you so much. I am so in love with that. Sorry, back to the, I'm sorry, wait a minute, I fell over there. Back to the other one that you're working on, coming along so nicely. Absolutely beautiful. It does look like a large piece. So you are working on a few things at once, and you do this, and you do well with this, right? It's like reading many books at the same time. Why not? I can't wait to see this evolve more. I love the way it's shaping up, and I love the color change that you're doing. You're very consistent with the style of color change in the leaves, right, half and half, and also the bird's body. It's very cohesive. The style of hooking is very cohesive, and you've got lots of elements. You've got lots of different kinds of flowers. You've got leaves, you've got the branch, and you've got the bird. You've got a lot of elements so far, but it's still really cohesive. The hooking style is so you, right? That is a success. Oh my God, are you kidding? I love it. I am so grateful for that. Eternally grateful for that. Now, I remember this one. This is I finished my family Picasso rug. This is about 12 by 22 in all t-shirt yarn, so cut up t-shirts on upholstery fabric. Did you get that? On upholstery fabric. So do you have to hook into rug hooking backing? No. But you do have to hook into a woven. Only wovens work, but so many woven fabrics will work, right? You just have to give it a try. You will be surprised, right? One of our first issues of Magpie, one of our lovely ladies, I'm never going to think of the name though. She's so brilliant. Had a beautiful sort of gift store, clothing store, and experimenting with rug hooking into bark cloth, like vintage bark cloth, and rug hooked the design of the flowers onto the bark cloth. That worked. So hooking into a backing fabric other than our traditional rug hooking ones, burlap, linen, monk's cloth, rugwarp, can be done and is often done. You just have to try. You will be surprised at how many fabrics will work for hooking into. So this is the family Picasso rug, all done in t-shirt material. The kids helped you draw the faces and pick the colors. This was such a fun project. Well, it looks like a fun project. And Jessica, I remember you have like some kind of card game about Picasso, right? About drawing. And that's where the inspiration for these faces came. And then you did like a composite, and you did like the I love you sign, right? That's the I love you sign with the hand in the middle, and all of these Picasso-esque faces with t-shirts, right? This is absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I just love it. I'm so happy to see it finished, and some stuff in profile, right? Really clever composition. That game must really be something. I mean, to be able to bring out such interesting drawings, I'd be so curious. I'd love to get this game too. Now, wait a minute, what's going on here? The last two pictures are upcoming okay, so I did them out of order, but I think this is one of the upcoming projects that you're getting together. Your daughter Evie, who just turned 10, that sweet little button, drew this spectacular dragon. Of course she did, because she's a genius. She's a brilliant girl. She drew this spectacular dragon and asked me to make it for her as a rug, and she will be helping. I drew Evie reading on the dragon's back, and I plan to use sapphire colors in the background, which is her birthstone. I'm hoping to make a personal rug for each of my kids for Christmas. Oh man, if anyone can do it, you can do it. Let me make this a little bit larger. Leave it to her to make something so beautiful. I have to ask Jessica, is she reading the Wings of Fire series? Is that where this is coming from? Because Jocelyn is deep into the Wings of Fire, and I'm seeing a lot of dragon drawings as well. So beautiful. Please tell her, I think she did, she's probably asleep, but an absolutely beautiful job. I'm so happy for her that she's obviously such a natural artist already and such a lovable and lovely person. So there she is sleeping on the dragon's back. So beautiful. She is going to love this. Yes, she loves Wings of Fire. How did I know? It's one of these things that kids just love right now, right? And you sent, so keep us updated on that as well, because it is just gorgeous. And your Caswell block. Last winter I worked on a huge rug inspired by the Caswell carpet. It took me 2 to 3 months to finish all the blocks. Well, for most people it would be 2 to 3 years, but I hear you. Some blocks are ribbon candy hooking patterns. Some I tweaked. Yep, you personalized some of them so that they fit your life and your stories as well. And watch back on some of our previous gallery night episodes to see some of those tweaked blocks, because they really are extraordinary. I'm looking at the one with the dog, right, at sort of toward the bottom, the gray, and the fans in the corner. Now I want to finish all of the hooking in between the blocks by the end of the month. Oh man, I'm thinking of lining the back with a light cotton and putting it on the back of the couch. I took this project to a local hook-in with my mother-in-law and sister-in-law at the Fort Lawrence Guild and had a great time. Oh my God, I bet they completely loved it. It's completely amazing. I feel like there is something on the back of your couch. Isn't it one of your Christmas things? But you can, of course, swap them out at different times of the year. Also, Jessica, I need to get in touch with your mother-in-law because I want to talk to her about the Halloween thing. I'm not working on the Halloween book actively this year, but I don't want to lose track of her because I love the piece that we were talking about for the Mystic Carpet. That is like so important to me. So I need to get in touch with her again. I don't want her to think I've forgotten. You know, I'm just 100 miles an hour in a different direction right now. But I definitely have not forgotten. That piece that she showed us on the phone was just like the best. This is amazing. And there's nothing about this that I don't absolutely die for. This is incredible. I see what you're doing now. You're filling in the spaces in between. It's becoming very unified. You're doing the grout work right now. You're putting the grout in, and it's absolutely stunning. It's beyond stunning. I mean, it's so beyond. It's just it's astonishing. It really is astonishing. This is just a gorgeous piece. Um, so at the end of your email, you said, now I need to sit down, prioritize the projects, and start hooking. And you said, I'm looking forward to seeing everyone's fantastic projects. Everyone tonight did have fantastic projects. Okay, good, good, good. Thank you, Jessica. I don't want her to think that I'm dropping the ball or that I don't care, because I'm absolutely, I so want to follow up with her on a bunch of things. But first, that Halloween thing. I'm having the same problem that Jessica's having. I've got so many projects up in the air right now. It's very hard to, with so many projects, it's very hard to be able to figure out for myself what order they're supposed to go in. It seems like it would be the most obvious thing in the world, but you know, if you've worked yourself into these crazy places, it's not. It's not logical at all. It's hard to remember where you were and what you were doing and to prioritize. And when you're not a practical person to start with, you're in big trouble. Jessica, you're going to prioritize these projects perfectly, I'm sure. If you want to do the ones for Christmas, obviously that's coming up, but you're well into getting this done. So it seems like this and the Christmas ones are going to come first. We might have to, is the covered bridge one of the Christmas gifts for this year? Or is that just a side project? because otherwise you've got some more designs to do, right? You're going to get it all done. That's one thing I know for sure. Let me just turn this on its side just for a minute, and then I won't. Let me unlock. And then this is our last slide for the night. Let me just turn it on its side. Wait a minute. What do I want? Transform this way. Yeah, let's come down here. I mean, is this not unspeakably gorgeous? I mean, this should be in the Folk Art Museum. I like this better than the original Caswell carpet. I really do. I honestly do. I love this so much. No, the covered bridge was a different one. All the kids will be with their own sort of mythical beast. Oh, that's a great theme. That's a great theme. God, I love this so much. I'm just drinking it in. The one at the bottom next to the, well, with the two thistles, right? You added the frogs. I love that. And to the left of that, the book with the letter with the little red wax seal and the sprig of flowers. That's one of your designs. That is absolutely beautiful. And isn't it just amazing how there are many Caswell carpets in here, blocks, but there are many that are not. And they're still very cohesive. And they don't necessarily share the exact same color palette, although there is a lot of, for neutrals, black and gray, right? And white and off-white, but there's a lot of blue. So knowing that that is kind of like the overarching color theme. Every block has some of those colors, and that is helping it stay together. It's also enabling it to have a lot of three-dimensional effects. So I'm very happy you're not putting it on the ground, and a lot of color pops, right? Because some blocks are warmer and more historic looking than others. It's just absolutely, it's absolutely unreal. I love it so much. Gosh, I was just going to say something that I thought was important. What could it possibly have been? Looking at the Caswell carpet, it wasn't something about that at this moment. Gosh, it's gone. Just looking at the Caswell carpet, just like you were, and I thought, just say this one thing, this is important. I think I'm too tired. I was going to have a coffee, but I think I'm going to have a tea. And I think I'm going to get back to my yarn bats. That needs to happen tonight. I don't want to disappoint anybody or keep anybody waiting. But man, I have loved seeing the stuff that you're all, this is what I was going to say. Along the lines of mythical beast and each child having their own mythical beast. Some of you might know this already, but I learned this from Jocelyn this weekend, this past week. And maybe I already said this because I'm losing my mind. But she told me that she's been working on her fursona. In other words, her persona in fur, because she does all these masks and all these costume elements with fur, and some of them are fleece, but she's got a lot of like fake fur, you know. So one of what we're doing in Syracuse is going to another one of these conventions where she dresses up, and her fursona, I told you this part for sure, is an eel, right? Because we were talking about the aquarium. But she's got more than one fursona, so I'm thinking, is this a little schizophrenic? But she does have more than one fursona. And I said to her, you know, I think a fursona is like a persona. And she's like, no, it's not. And I was like, okay. I think it is, but okay. I think that's the root of the word. But then I said, you know, is your fursona like it's your spirit animal? And she was like, no, it's not. And I was like, I think it is. But it brought me back to that place of thinking about, you know, what Jessica does with like the sapphire background for the birthstone month, making these very thoughtful choices about colors, about compositions, about what to add, about what to change, based on the desire to personalize, is such a good place to be, right? It's such a good place for your mind to live, because if everything is movable, if everything is adaptable, if everything can be modified to be more you, and you work on more projects that feel more like you than whoever designed them, that's going to feel good, isn't it? You know, we're in fall, we're headed to that tough time of year where a lot of people fall apart. Winter is tough on a lot of people. It's nice to think about ways and projects that you can work on stuff that reconnect you to who you are, what you love, and, you know, representing the way that Jessica is, very literally, right? The people around you who you love. It's great to think about how to work those things into our medium, right? And to do rugs that have all these little touches. So just keep thinking, just keep looking, and wondering and thinking and brainstorming, even with an already perfect composition, because it could be that your perfect composition becomes transcendent, right? It like transcends perfection and is a word that we don't even have in the English language. It could be that it becomes that special. So it is a lot of fun to think about modifying. And Judy says the mythical beast theme will be epic, Jessica. What a great way to celebrate each of your kids. I can't wait to see them ready. Happy Thanksgiving weekend to you, to all of my buddies in Canada. Happy Thanksgiving, friends. I hope you are having a beautiful friend. We say Friendsgiving sometimes here, friend and family Thanksgiving. However you're celebrating, whoever you're celebrating with it, I hope that you're with the people you love and that it's a super, super, super special and memorable day, one for the record books. It would have been, yesterday was Thanksgiving, right? Because it's still on a Thursday. And then through the whole weekend, it's like a holiday kind of a feel, right? Beautiful way to start the season. And thanks, Dave. It was a great show because the projects were great. I loved seeing everybody's work as usual. Stunning work, great projects, great ideas, amazing inspiration as always. Gallery night is my favorite. I will be back. I won't be with you on Monday. Sorry, it is Columbus Day, and we will be traveling back from Syracuse and from the big convention. So I'll find another day next week when I can be with you. And I should be with you next Friday as well. That should not be a problem. So I'll come up with some great show ideas in the meantime. Keep going with your projects. Think about the next Magpie Times, right? I definitely would like a little bit more stuff. I'm very greedy, but I want a nice fat issue. So when you get it, you go, oh, it's a good fat issue. There's lots to look at here. Think about winter themes. The theme is sugar and spice, but anything winter will work for me. Um, Oh, thank you, everyone. I had a great night too. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. Happy Thanksgiving, Canadians. Reach out to me if you need me between now and to be determined the next show, our weekday show. But in the meantime, take care, and you know where to find me, and you know I will see you